first oval race we ever had, and boy was it fun.
Mayhem, I didn't have a clue what was going on.
Completely unpredictable.
Multiple crashes, 10 yellow flags.
I was really blown away by how exciting the race was.
It was Naqib Aslan that walked away in P1.
It was intense from lap 1 until lap 80, getting our first podium and that being a win. Hopefully we can bring that momentum coming to the next round.
Arif Azmi is a regular face in the E1 Championship.
His first podium this season, his second ever, but Apex first podium.
I'm super happy with how things turned out last week. It was really good. It was really fun, really close.
I'm quite disappointed by Arif's actions during the last few laps. Arif let Naqib by without a fight. Arif fought quite aggressively and unfairly against me. I gave him enough space on the inside, but he understeered into my car fighting too aggressively and put me into the wall.
And he was right at the very front.
But Arif Azmi just kind of made a mistake, understeered into him.
I am quite disappointed with the steward's decision not to penalise Arif and Naqib. You can't take someone out which benefits another teammate up the road. While Arif is not driving for Stratos in E1, he was in their voice chat during the race because he's a part of their karting team. So Naqib and Arif are working together during the race to achieve a result.
I owe it all to the team. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to get the podium.
I think that Arif broke that rule. I should be leading the championship, not second place.
Alistair Young, we'd written him off because he was involved in so many incidents in the first couple of laps that we didn't see him make that fabulous number of overtakes to get himself his first ever podium position.
I found myself at the back of the field quite a lot throughout the race, and I think only in the last 20 laps I made the push forward to the podium. Last round with the podium was my last weekend in E1. I'm very happy to end it on a high. I've loved my experience in E1. Hopefully I'll be back in later season.
Aaron Lim did a really good job. He was in the top 10.
Managed to finish 7th, my best position so far, and looking forward to building up on that in the coming round.
Oval racing is always unpredictable, and that's why we've done it.
Mystery circuit. Thanks, Alex. What do we know?
So the mystery track is also a joker round.
Where the circuit was just announced 3 days prior.
And this is really going to hamper the approach that they usually have going into a race weekend.
I think it'll be very interesting for everyone.
Having only 3 days to practice will definitely be a bit tough.
Actually, 3 days to practice is already a lot for real life.
We will definitely be prepared next round.
We're going to be pushing hard. We're all in the same boat, so I'm not too worried about it.
I don't think the mystery track adds too much of a challenge for us.
We'll be doing the same amount of practice as normal.
Right settings early on in testing, that could be probably one of the main challenges actually.
Going into the mystery circuit tonight, we're going to see more of that unpredictability.
I'm expecting a lot of shuffling here tonight.
Welcome to the E1 Championship Season 2, Round 4, brought to you by Evo Club Car Insurance with Pro Mileage, where you can save up to 40% off your next car insurance renewal. Make sure you check out their website, evoclubinsurance.com. Now, don't forget, you can catch us live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. on the EGG network. Also, don't forget, you can follow us on our Facebook page where we have a live stream, and follow us on our website where you can catch all the latest news. My name is Daniel Woodruff. I'm your host for this evening, and with me is Alex Young, our race director, and with us in the commentary box, as always, is Des Corkill and Amer, also known as Amo. Hello, gents. So tonight we head into round 4, and I usually start off this program by saying where we're going to be going, but as you can see in this lovely graphic in front of me, we're at a mystery circuit tonight. So that will be revealed very, very shortly. You guys will have to keep watching to find out. But before we find that out, let's have a little bit of a throwback to our race last week, round 3, where E1 visited its first ever oval race in the entire championship's history. That was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was the longest race we've ever had on the E1 calendar, almost hitting 90 minutes. But those 90 minutes were filled with lots of crashes and lots of action. As you may have seen earlier on at the start of this program, while we enjoyed it, there were some drivers who were a little bit upset by what happened. And I think, Alex, I'd love to get your thoughts on what happened with Josh Perween, because he had a little bit of a run-in with Arif Azmi. So what happened there?
Well, I mean, we're going to see it in a sec, but I mean, guys that watched the race last weekend, we see that Josh came to coming together with Arif just towards the end. Here's Naqib overtaking Arif for the lead with only, I think, was it like 10 laps to go. Made it quite easy for him. But then Arif there, being super aggressive with Josh. Then Josh tried to go around the outside of turn 1. And, Arif ran a bit wide and they had contact, and that was it. Josh went off, managed still to recover to 6. But, he was really upset. The stewards, the race control ruled it as a racing incident because, yes, Arif moved, but also Josh was coming down. And that's what happened, but obviously Josh was not very happy.
But Josh mentioned two things there. Obviously, there was the incident that we saw that resulted in a crash, but he also mentioned that there was an incident with Naqib Aslan where Arif may have let him by too easily, or just with no resistance at all.
So, yeah, that was the second claim that Josh meant that they were working together as teammates. But, if you want to go far back enough, everyone has been teammates with someone at some point. We have to go with which cars you're driving. And Arif is not driving the same team, he's driving a different team, he's running a different color livery. Naqib's teammate was, name escapes me, Dominic Ang, sorry, just for a second there. And that was one way of looking at it. But the other thing was also, obviously, we did talk to Arif afterwards and we said, hey, that looked a bit on the edge. And you've been accused, of helping Naqib. But Arif pointed out to me that he was running really low on petrol. He would not have been able to finish the race if he'd stayed in front. So what he was doing was he was letting Naqib by and just hanging the slipstream and lifting off the throttle halfway down the straights so he could make the end of the race. We did look at the data. We have access to all the drivers' data. And we did see that Arif crossed the line with only 0.5 litres of fuel in the car. So he definitely wouldn't have made the race if he'd led at the front. So I do believe that story, and that's why he wasn't given a further penalty.
Well, there was a lot to take into consideration. If you guys think that was juicy, there was plenty more action from our very first oval race. For those of you that didn't catch it last week, let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights.
And Ibrahim gets us underway.
No, he's got nudged. Kaylan Chin going for the lead down the back straight into turn 3.
Kaylan Chin, a new race leader. Tankujan back in the balls.
He actually took Alistair Young with him this time. Josh takes the lead. He got 2 toes right in front of him where he could get a slipstream.
Yes, Arif Azmi is the latest man to go into the race lead.
Anton has actually smacked the inside wall all the way into the pits.
Alistair, he's leading his first race in the E1 Championship.
Arif Azmi is indeed the new race leader. Josh Perween in P2.
Oh, there's a big accident. That looks like Ibrahim. Ibrahim is in the wall at turn 2. And Bannister spinning, and Bannister spun in the middle of the field there in the short shoot. Takes out Alistair, and that looks like one of the EGG cars. It's like, oh, put it behind. Look at that. That's an ISO car. That looks like an ISO car. But ow. Even bigger. That's Ibrahim actually involved again. Oh, he's going onto the inside. And Naqib leads for the first time.
Josh, he's got the pace. He's going to go outside. He's got to hang it around. And he goes around the outside, but Arif holds on.
Naqib.
Oh, no. Josh spins. Oh, then he saved it. Amazingly saved it and put it behind another car into the barrier.
And it will be Naqib Aslan take the victory. Arif Azmi P2, Alistair Young 3. I still don't really know what happened in that race. There was so much action going on. I can tell you that Mohammed Ibrahim was fastest in qualification, but Naqib took 50 points, double points last week because it was the longer race. Arif Azmi, first podium of the season for him. Alistair Young, first podium of the season for him. So a 50-point round for Naqib Aslan, 40 for Arif Azmi. Look at Josh Perween though, unhappy with his 22 points. We'll hear more of that later.
So Alex, you threw in the oval for the very first time in the E1 Championship to spice things up. Were you happy with how things turned out in the end?
I really enjoyed that race. I know a lot of people like Des, obviously like not really sure what's going on, but as a motorsport fan, I loved it. It was so close. Yes, there were a lot more incidents. That's what happens with oval racing. But just the strategy, I love the strategy, how it was playing out. Naqib and Arif going for the early pit stop for that last stint, almost running out of petrol, but able to make it up, make it to the end with the safety cars. So the strategy part was what I loved best about it.
Well, there was a lot going on, and in the end, it was Naqib that came out on top. But who also did well was a whole load of underdogs, a bunch of people that we didn't expect to be up there at the front, eventually coming out with their first podiums and finishing in the top 10 positions, which on an oval circuit is very, very commendable. Let's take a look at who some of these are. I mean, Alistair Young for one. Des, you were talking on earlier on in the show about how Alistair had his best ever performance and first podium this season. I mean, that was a great drive.
Well, a very good drive. He's got a rather demanding father, let's not forget that, who had a little word in his ear, I think. And so Alistair went out and produced really everything in the last 20 laps because he was way down, way out of the reckoning, but managed to get himself right the way through the field. That was the beauty of the oval. You can come from behind and pick up a podium from nowhere.
And another driver that did very well was Aaron Lim. Now, he's a driver who, if you're familiar with the Malaysian motorsports scene, you'll know him very well. I know him very well from since I was a little 12-year-old boy starting out in racing, a legend in the Malaysian motorsports world, but maybe not the most experienced in e-racing. But Amo, for someone who's been in the e-racing world quite a bit, his P7 on an oval was quite good, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. And the fact that it's commendable too, given the fact that it is his first ever oval race and very new to sim racing. So to get it first time out at Indianapolis of all places is very much the cream of the crop. The cherry on top of the cake for him, because he'll definitely nail this as one of his best performances, unless of course the mystery track can offer up more for him.
All right, well, strong showing from our underdogs. Let's check out some of the highlights that they had at Indianapolis.
Arif Azmi, Alex Young, he had a terrific qualification. And look at him here, now he's in P4. So Arif Azmi is the latest man to go into the race lead, Amo Hazi.
As Arif Azmi goes onto the inside and takes back the lead. This is everyone's to lose, and Josh Bowen, they're watching brief. Anything happen? Whoa, Josh tries to go on the inside, but Arif defends very deep.
He's got to hang it around, and he goes around the outside, but Arif holds on. And listen, he's leading his first race in the E1 Championship. Decides to go around the outside of Nakib. That's a good move there.
Aaron Lim in the top 8, Amo.
And he's in with a shout of a podium here.
But you need to be clever with the driving, when not to push and when to push. And that's why Lim is there in P3.
Aaron Lim from Team EGG, P5 at the moment. And it will be Nakib Aslan take the victory. Arif Azmi P2, Alistair Young 3.
So aside from the oval itself throwing a curveball for the drivers, the race had double points, and that meant that with our underdogs coming through, it resulted in a bit of a shuffle in our championship standings. Des, please do us the honors and walk us through our latest championship results.
Certainly will, young Dan, of course. What it means, those double points, it brought Nakib, the Season 0 champion, back into the reckoning, but Luke Bannister led after round 1 with 44 points from Josh Perwin. Mohammed Ibrahim, fastest, would go on and get 57 out of possible 59 points in round 2. Perwin relegated to P2 in that stage. Muhammad Ali beginning to make a surge, and then by the end of round 3, Ibrahim, his lead is still there, but it's been cut away by both Josh Perwin and Josh Thomas. Tell you what, this season is going to go to race 8. Flash are the overall leaders, with Alif and who's the defending champion, and Mohammed Ibrahim, the current championship leader. They are well ahead of Black Arts Racing and Safe House. But as I say, this is very, very early in the season.
Well, it's a different trio than we're used to up in the top 3. Do you think that this is going to be the same three-way fight that we're going to see for the rest of the season?
Well, see, so Ibrahim has been very consistent at all the road tracks. Okay, the oval race didn't go to his way. He ran out of fuel as well. He was a bit low on fuel. That's why he couldn't get to the front in the last stint. But he's been very consistent on those road tracks, so we know he's going to be quick today. Josh and both Joshes, Luke, and of course, they have not been quite as consistent, you know, and that's why they're a little bit further back. But also, you have to say, reigning champion Alif coming better, getting stronger, and of course Nakib also getting stronger as well. So they're getting a bit closer, but they know they still have to close the gap.
And you raise a good point there, Alex. Nakib and Alif are former champions. And I'm going to raise this question to Amo, because he's got a lot of experience racing in all of these different championships, in iRacing as well. What's going on with the two? We've seen them bounce back a little bit, but why aren't they there at the top like they were in previous seasons?
Well, it's probably because they're not really used to the simulators for the most part, but they're getting in there. They're getting stuck in, and for example, like Nakib, for finally getting his first win, that can take the monkey off his back and just try to focus on the rest of the season, whether or not he can challenge them at, say, more technical circuits that are coming up, and including another car that we have not seen yet, which is the Lotus 49. So he can still swing his way if he gets it right. For Alif, it's just a matter of whether or not he can just still keep up with Ibrahim, because Ibrahim is about 5/10ths up on average in terms of qualifying delta, so he just needs to make up the deficit in qualifying. Then he can try to focus on keeping on to him during the race.
Well, our championship standings has seen a little bit of a jumble up, and with the introduction of our mystery circuit tonight, I'm sure that it's going to be jumbled up even more after tonight's racing. So we're ready for our big reveal, so it's over to our colleague Amanda to walk us through where we're going to be racing tonight.
Hello everyone, I'm Amanda Andrea and you are watching E1 Championship Season 2, Asia Pacific's most premier sim racing championship. Last week we completed Round 3's Joker Round with E1's first ever oval race and evening race. After all the thrills and excitement from last week, tonight we'll be witnessing another electrifying race on the first night race of the season in the mystery circuit of Round 4. Ladies and gentlemen, the mystery circuit is the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval in Concord, North Carolina, USA. This speedway was built in 1959 by Bruton Smith and is widely considered as the home track of NASCAR racing. In 2011, Charlotte Motor Speedway set a Guinness World Record with the debut of the world's largest HD TV at a sports venue, spanning nearly 16,000 square feet of viewing pleasure for fans. Now, the Charlotte Motor Speedway complex encompasses nearly 2,000 acres and includes a road course, a karting layout, and an oval within the walls of the Super Speedway. In 2018, Charlotte Motor Speedway changed the course of NASCAR history with the innovative Roval, a 3.669 kilometer, 17 turns anti-clockwise course that combines the high banks of the oval with newly designed infield road course. The fastest lap record was made by William Byron at 1 minute 22.144 seconds. This round on the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, drivers will be hopping back into the Dallara IR01. Powered by a 3-liter V10 engine, giving it a 900 horsepower, the thrilling Dallara IR01 allows it to accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers in 1.2 seconds with a top speed of 346 kilometers per hour. The Dallara IR01 weighs around 600 kgs with a maximum fuel capacity of 80 liters. Round 4 will start with a 10 minutes qualifying race that determines the driver's starting positions and followed by a 15-minute sprint race and 30 minutes reverse grid race. The top 5 in the qualifying race will earn points from 5 all the way down to 1. Top 15 in race 1 and 2 will earn points from 25 all the way down to 1. The driver with the fastest lap in race 1 and 2 will earn an additional 2 points per race. Almost halfway into the season, teams and drivers with the highest accumulated points after all 8 rounds will walk away with a prize pool of $16,000 and trophies. The competition level is getting tougher and tougher as drivers are catching up to speed. Every single point counts. Good luck to all, and may the fastest win.
Thank you, Amanda. And indeed, every single point counts. And Alex, this isn't going to be an easy track to score points on because I watched a couple of onboards before coming in tonight, and from my perspective, it's a very, very tough track to tackle. Walk us through some of the characteristics and why you chose Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, we like to throw surprises. We did an oval last weekend. Now we're doing a Roval, half road course, half oval. And it is exciting. You can see, whoa, as Benjamin Seat gets right up there. It gets there is quite a bit of gradient. You go up on the bankings and stuff, and you come off the banking, back onto the banking. Big curves, as you can see here, as you come through the last couple of corners. And you can see you can even run on the apron. So that makes it quite interesting to watch. There are a variety of different lines. But one thing to note, it is hard to overtake. We normally go to tracks where it's very easy to overtake, but it's going to be super hard to overtake here. So the reverse grid race is going to be quite tricky. And I wouldn't be surprised if the top guys try and do a very different sort of strategy, maybe a very early pit stop or a very late pit stop to try and get to the front and avoid all the traffic.
Well, all that says to me is that qualifying is going to be extra important tonight.
Yeah.
Because they have to be up at the front. We can see here, you do have those straights, you do have the bankings, you do have part of the oval, that's why it's called a roval. But it's not really like a straight in Shanghai where you can use it to your advantage to overtake it. It's going to be really, really tough to get a slipstream.
And you can see it's really hard because you come out of the pit lane. This is the infield section. This actually turns 5 here.
Oof.
Whoa, and Ibrahim just goes down. Oh, that's a big shunt. Wow, that's going to cost a lot of money if that was real life. Yeah, so you kind of come through turn 1, off the oval, into the road track, and then you go into this infield section, and this is watching Inigo Anton go around the last corner. That's a start-finish straight. Here he is at turn 1, we're just talking. So we've come off the oval, and now you're back into the infield section. And from the infield section, it gets kind of a little bit tricky. You can see the corners here. Here we go through turns 3 and 4. You can see it's very tricky to try and to watch the little gradient here. Lots of understeer through here. Then comes to oversteer. And then you come through this double left here, and it comes back onto the oval. So this double left here, now you go back onto the oval, and you can see the banking there. Now it's flat out, and you can see that you can use the apron here in this race, and you see a lot of them using the apron, and some of them even using the banking before going through the last couple of corners.
Well, that's a lot going on. I hope we get you to commentate a lap during qualifying. A quick question for you, Des. I know you were speaking with lots of excitement after our first oval race at Indianapolis. Now we've got a little bit of a hybrid. Are you excited for your very first roval?
I certainly am. I tell you what the oval really did for me. It made me realise I don't know much about this racing. I enjoyed the thrills and spills. I couldn't follow it, and the roval is going to be particularly intriguing because I love the bends, I love the curves, and then they go into that infield. So yeah, excited, but also there's going to be a lot of walls being hit, I think. Magic.
Yep, a lot of accidents, I'm sure, to come. As we saw there in practice, and a quick one for you as well, Amo. How hard is it to learn this track in 3 days? Because we all found out about Charlotte Motor Speedway 3 days ago.
It's quite hard for me personally because I've driven the circuit a bit to find out how it's like, and it's crazy. It is an absolutely crazy circuit because the first corner immediately, when you come onto the banking off the oval into the front straight, you want to come into like a sort of over banking, right? But imagine in actuality, you just cut across into a very sharp left-hander, and it goes over a rise, dip into the bottom of the, not a hill, but it's like dip at the bottom of the circuit slightly, back around into the main oval, and then you have some more chicanes to negotiate. We're gonna go into the circuit to find out. There we go. That's actually quite a gradient on the top there. Dips a bit and then goes back onto the main circuit where you have to use a bit of the apron. No corner cutting penalties there. Absolutely insane circuit. It's crazy enough to see it in NASCAR, let alone in open wheelers on this circuit.
All right, well, fantastic insight. Thank you, Amo. I look forward to more of those insights when we get to qualifying very, very soon. But that's all we have from practice so far. Quali is up next, but first, a very short break. Don't go anywhere.
When I switched to Pro Mileage, I got 46-47% of savings.
I paid $790 for it. Compared to any other insurer, the cheapest was $1,290. Pro Mileage was the only one that gave me $5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper.
My Volvo XC40 1 year premium 6,000 over ringgit. Then I start taking Pro Mileage. I say, huh? 3,200 plus ringgit.
Claim went through pretty fast. I got my car back pretty quickly as well.
Called them about 8 o'clock in the morning. I think within 1 hour it came.
Two cars starting for this fourth round of the season, including the defending champion Muhammad Alif alongside Muhammad Ibrahim. Flash leading the championship, or the team championship anyway.
And then we got Season 0 champions there, Naqib Aslan, who was the champion in that one and runner-up in Season 1. And he's joined by Dominic Ang, another fellow Malaysian.
An awful lot I expect of the Black Wolf Racing team. Kalen Chin has managed one podium this season. Mika Hakimi not being able to put his pace, though, onto the podium. But do look out for these dark horses.
Dark horses indeed. And then after that, we have Philippines-based team GT Radio Eurasia. Inigo Anton, who's so quick, hopefully going to get his first win this year, and he's teamed with Joaquin Garrido.
Team Safe House are Miko Nasi and Josh Thomas. Josh Thomas 5 times in the top 6, twice on the podium this season. Miko Nasi 6 E1 Championship wins, none yet this year.
But it's been quick. Black Arts Racing, shall I say. Josh Powen from Australia with a fellow Australian Luke Bannister. Black Arts Racing second in the team's championship and a real life team as well. Most successful in the region.
But it wouldn't melt in the mouth of Arif Azmi from Apex E-Racing. Second last week in controversial manner. We haven't seen the best though of Mohamed Zini from Singapore. He is talented.
And then another Apex team, Apex Academy. We see the return, shall we say, of Benjamin Seek and Lance Lau. They've been with us in Season 0 and Season 1. Nice to see them back in the Academy cars.
A debut for Slipstream Motorsports. Dan Martin, the 23-year-old Malaysian, comes in for Alistair Young. Ivan Vantagiato trying to get his season up and running. Your season starts here.
Then we have EGG Network Cars, Aaron Lim, the legend in one of them, and of course Melwin Tan, the youngster, not so much a legend, but a youngster in karting from Philippines in the second car.
A highlight reel of their own for Tunku Jan Lei and Kefli Othman. They have been great entertainment. They'd like to get some points on the board. Right, let's focus on qualification and let's hear more from Amanda.
It's a clear and chilled night at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with 24 degrees Celsius and the air humidity at 40% with a wind speed of 8 kilometers per hour. The Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval was the first modern super speedway to host night racing and was the largest lighted speedway until 1998. Tonight's race is going to prove to be another exhilarating one, as the circuit was only announced to drivers and teams just 3 days ago. Which teams and drivers are able to overcome this hurdle for a good qualifying start and secure a good starting position?
Great information from Amanda. Right, we are just about ready to go racing for qualification. Amo, my trusty alongside me, because I need educating about this new form of racing, because so much can go on these banked ovals.
Yep, and Rovals, as we would like to call this one, because it's confirmed to be a bit of an oval, a bit of a road course. It has been around for quite a while actually in certain parts, like for example in Brazil they had the Emerson Fittipaldi oval where it was a trapezoid circuit. That's kind of like in South America, but then it caught on into North America and we saw Charlotte being one of the first circuits to employ this kind of thing. And racing has been good here, especially for the Cup Series for NASCAR, and hopefully it will be as good for the open wheelers in the IRO ones.
EvoClubInsurance.com, delighted to have them on board as our sponsors for this season of the E1 Championship Season 2. You can get 40% off your renewal premiums with EvoClubInsurance.com. Now then, we are into qualification already, and Alex Young will join us, I believe, for the qualification. We're immediately on board, Alex, with Muhammad Alif. Do you want to talk us around this circuit? Because it is intricate.
Yeah, let's talk about this track. This is coming out in the last corner. They're using the apron. They are allowed to use the apron here. Then coming through the last chicane. Nice use of the curbs. Oh, he's actually quite conservative over the curbs. Normally they use a lot more curbs. I would like to go for a roll bar shot. Let's go on board with him. Now through turns 2. Now there's double rights, turns 3 and 4. Look how fast it is. How much speed they've... Oh, too much understeer there. Looks like it's still good though. Now then this banking here as it turns. Understeers in and then oversteers out. Then a double left coming up. This double left, this is where you come back on the banking. You've got to carry so much speed up onto the banking, and then you want to try and shorten the line. That's why they come off the banking down onto the apron. And this long drag. Then we've got a very quick chicane coming up. This chicane could be an overtaking spot, but it's going to be very tough. Oh no, this is a good, yeah, That's a better angle. Then out of that corner, keep it down on the apron for the shortest distance, and then we're back. It's a really short lap, Des, isn't it? As they come down, to the last chicane here. Again, you can overtake here, but like I said, not many overtaking opportunities for this track as he comes across the start-finish line.
All kinds of challenges thrown in on that lap. Mohammed Ibrahim, his teammate, is fastest. Inigo Anton has posted a 54.3. Let's have a look to see who else is out there. Miko Nasi for Team Safehouse, who can be very quick, Ammo.
Indeed, and the fact that qualifying so far for him, he needs to be quicker because second place in round 2, has been his best qualifying so far in Montreal. Can he do another one here? Can he be as close to Ibrahim? We'll have to wait and see, but so far at least, qualifying seems to be good for, it has been kind to him. 5th, 2nd and 8th. Just needs to crack that pole position right here, to be honest.
The fact that the guys have only had 3 days or so, does that help or hinder those who've got day jobs like Miko is? Is that a problem for them?
Well, his day job includes driving anyway, so he's not rushing into the driving. But yes, in terms of preparation, that day job can be, you might say, a bit of a hindrance. He takes a bit of the grass there. That's interesting because I wouldn't want to take the grass on the infield at any oval circuit because they tend to be very slippery, but Miko does it there. And so far, at least right now, where's his time actually?
He's down in P12 at the moment. No time put in there.
So maybe he got to try something, but he does have to worry because he's still got about 6.5 minutes left to go here in qualifying to set the time. Meanwhile, we jump on board with another driver who could be a contender for pole position. Kaylin Chin, third right now. 5/10 off though. We saw in practice, Ibrahim was more than 1.5 seconds faster, which will be a concern to most of the other drivers.
Your thoughts on Kaylin Chin, Alex Young? We expected a lot from Black Wolf Racing, and we know Kaylin's good enough to get victories, but as he goes off on the infield once again. Surely that's not the route you want to take.
That's interesting. He's using the grass and somehow finding some grip out there. Let's follow him for a bit. I would like to ride on with Josh Perwin and Nakib later on. But wow, Kaylin's looking very interesting. They're using the grass, maybe getting a bit of a slingshot to start his lap. Very interesting line, kind of clever to be honest, if you can get away with it. We don't determine track limits here in Race Control, only the AI does it. So if the game allows you to do it, you're allowed to do it. So all credit to Kaylin to use the grass. He is a clever little driver, isn't he? Anyway, one more chicane to go. This is looking like a pretty good lap as he goes through it. He's got to try and get down to a 4. Oh, looks very conservative there. I'm not sure if that was a mistake. Now he's going down, he's using the apron. The apron is the bottom bit here that's not on the banking. Is he going to use the grass again? No, I don't know, he's backed off, hasn't he?
Backed off, yeah, but...
Starting the lap again.
P3 for him at the moment. Now, we wanted to have a look at some of the others. Josh Perwin has got himself up to a P5, but he's still quite a way down, nearly a second down on the fastest lap. Mohammed Ibrahim, Ammo.
Yeah.
Again, 53.8, so he's matched basically the time that he set during practice. 4/10 up on, he goes, whoa, Josh gets absolutely squirrely there as he comes out to the bank, and he backed off now. He's going to start yet another lap. But, yeah, Alex, I'm going to ask you about track limits. That one for the pit lane might be a bit contentious, don't you think? Because cars might come in, and drivers still want to cut that as they come on track. Would that be a bit of an issue?
It could be. We're going to have to find out very soon. Oof, Nakib, they're getting super wide at the exit. They're clissing the wall. Be interesting to see where he goes. Oh, Leaf just goes up P3, but still Ibrahim on top by 4/10. I don't know if this is the end of the lap or the start of a lap. So he crosses the finishing line. Let's see where Nakib ends up.
Yeah, oh, wait, no, there we go. 8th place.
8th place. Nah, he won't be happy with that. He's got to find at least half a second more.
But he has got plenty of time. 4 minutes still to race. So these are pretty quick laps, all inside the minute. So he's got another couple of laps inside of him. But it's Mohammed Ibrahim once again who is quickest. This is 4 in a row now. Oh, as Nakib hits the wall rather badly. Let's have a look at Inigo Anton, who's put in a very, very tasty 54.3. But that's half a second down, Alex, on Mohammed Ibrahim.
Yeah, we've seen this season so far that Ibrahim has just not been matched in qualifying. Everyone just can't seem to get down to his lap times in qualifying, at least. So yeah, that's, half a second, 4/10 actually. Around what is a very short track is a huge amount.
They come into the infield again. Those walls are so close. There is no margin for error. This is karting like, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's like a street track really, because there's so many walls. But Inigo's had the first half of this lap has been very good actually. This first sector, He's looking quite tidy. Let's see if he gets a good exit onto the banking. That looks okay. That looks okay. This looks like it could be a good lap.
P2 at the moment for Inigo Anton.
See where he gets up. Chicane. Got to use the curb. He does use the curb. Got to get close to the wall on the exit, and he does. One more corner to go, effectively. One more chicane, shall we say. This banking is not considered a corner. There he goes. Brakes for the last chicane. Whoa, look how much curb. Oh, he's going to get close to the wall. Will that be an improvement? Yes. Good improvement. 2/10 off pole. Does he have another lap in him?
But still only P2. Mohammed Ibrahim so quick. Josh Perwin, who was not happy with events last week. He's got a bit of fire in his belly, Josh. Currently P5 ammo has he.
Yeah, he's definitely not happy with the way the steward decisions have gone, and probably steward decisions that have gone a bit amiss as he touches the wall there.
Oh.
He's going to abandon this lap as well. He's not been having good coverage. Look at it, a shake of the head there. He's not best pleased with himself. But probably qualifying aside, he just probably needs to break that duck, actually. He has not won a race this season. Best finished second was that very first race back in Interlagos, and has since then been finishing third, 6th, and third, 6th. Qualifying is not hindrance for him. His best performance in qualifying has been second, but so far at least, just hasn't broken the duck yet because Ibrahim's been on pole so far.
What about last week's bad boy, Arif Azmi? I shouldn't call him that, should I? Arif at the moment out of the reckoning. P14, Alex.
Wow, yeah, so P14, that's not where he wants to be, but I just going back to what you're saying about Josh, he's second in the championship and he's all the way down 5th place. Not good for him, but we are on board with Arif Azmi. Finished second in the last race. Oh, I love this angle. He carries the speed. Oh, yeah, it feels like he could carry more speed through there. He's not attacking the curbs enough. Yeah, I'm not sure if this will be an improvement. Maybe it will be because he's quite far back in P14, but I don't think he's going to trouble the top 10.
Well, we're only 1 minute away from the end of qualification. Hardly anybody's out on the circuit. In fact, we're finding this a lot in the 10-minute circuits. Everybody gets off pretty quickly, so nobody else out on the track. Mohammed Ibrahim, for the 4th race in a row, Ammo, is fastest, and by quite some margin. Mohammed Ibrahim from Inigo Anton, from Mohammed Alif, from Kalen Chin, from Josh Perwin. They're going to be your point scorers. It's a very familiar face.
It's almost like a monotonous pattern, isn't it? We can almost get it as if every week for qualifying, it's going to be Ibrahim who's going to get the 5 points. It's almost like there's nobody out there who can match him in terms of his raw speed on that one lap. And Ibrahim has nailed that to a T. And so far, 5, 10, 15, 20 points, gained only from just qualifying. That's a lot of points dropped for the other drivers who start right behind him.
Alex Young, I think we can have a chat with Mohammed Ibrahim because he's looking very cool, calm and calculating in his cockpit.
Congratulations, Ibrahim. That's your 4th pole out of 4 races so far. You want to talk us through your qualifying?
Yes, thank you, everyone. Yeah, again, thanks to Allah and thanks to God, for getting another pole. Yeah, honestly speaking, this qualifying was the most difficult qualifying because this track is so easy to make the mistake. I thought Canada was tough, but this is another level, in terms of difficulty. So it was very tough getting a clean lap together. Unfortunately, I made quite a few mistakes on my laps, but thankfully still pole.
Yeah, well, good enough for pole. What do you think about Inigo Anton? He's improved quite a bit as well. Only 2/10 off you in qualifying.
Yeah, I know. Inigo did a fantastic job. He's done a nice lap. It's big improvement. He's ahead of many of the other guys, other iRacing guys. So it's quite impressive.
Okay. So I mean, obviously, race 1 is quite straightforward, 15-minute race, sprint race. But then race 2, it's a 30-minute race, reverse grid race. I mean, I know we should maybe be talking about race 1, but it is going to be very tough to overtake here, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, overtaking is almost impossible here. So hopefully we can keep our noses clean and hopefully hope for the best for race 2.
Okay, good luck with that.
Yep, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, well, best of luck to Mohammed Ibrahim, starting on pole in a very difficult track to overtake. Let's see if he can keep it out in front in race 1. Over to you, Des, to walk us through our results from qualifying.
These are the official results with EvoClubInsurance.com. Our thanks to the sponsors. Mohammed Ibrahim from Team Flash of 53.87 ahead of Inigo Anton, 2.255 down. Muhammad Ali again improving week on week for Team Flash, 1 and 3 for Team Flash. Kalen Chin, a very healthy P4. Josh Perwin, never sure whether Josh is going to be happy or not, but he's got to be happy with P5, Black Arts Racing. Josh Thomas, Luke Bannister, Miko Nassi, Nakib down in P9. Mika Hakimi showing good pace in P10, but 1.5 down on that really quick lap from Mohammed Ibrahim. And then you've got Dominic Ang, Joaquim Garrido, Aaron Lim fairly quick, Arif Azmi couldn't live up to last week's billing. Dan Martin on debut, Melwin Tan, that's decent. Ivan Vantagiato and Ben Seek. Well, welcome back, Ben, out in Brunei for the Apex Academy down in P18.
All right, well, that's qualifying down. Up next, we have some analysis from what went on the track, followed by the highly anticipated Race 1 on our Roval. But first, a very short commercial break. We'll see you in a bit.
When I switched to Pro Mileage, I got 47% of savings.
I paid 790 for it. Compared to any other insurer, the cheapest was 1,290. Pro Mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper.
My Volvo XC40 1 year premium 6,000 over ringgit. Then I start taking Pro Mileage. I say, huh? 3,200 plus ringgit.
Claim went through pretty fast. I got my car back pretty quickly as well.
Called them about 8 o'clock in the morning. I think within 1 hour it came.
Welcome back to the E1 Championship Season 2, Round 4, where we're racing on the Charlotte Motor Speedway, also known as a Roval, where we have just wrapped up qualifying. And once again, it's Mohammed Ibrahim who takes his 4th pole of the season out of 4. A very, very impressive performance. I'm sure he's going to want to keep it up in front on this very hard to overtake circuit. But Alex, some of the drivers, they have had a bit of a tough time. I mean, with this mystery circuit, they've only had 3 days to learn how to do it. And looking at some of the drivers in qualifying, I'm gonna nitpick on Arif Azmi. You can see that they're just not utilizing the limits of the track.
Yeah, I think, you know, and some of them, you know, obviously they got work and school and stuff, so they don't even get 3 days. So you can see some look a little bit light on practice. You know, Benjamin Seek and like one of them, you know, with Lance Lau just coming back in with hardly any practice there right at the back. You're right, Arif also was struggling to get to the flow. This track looks like it's quite tricky. It looks like you got to kind of throw it in and hang on, you know, through the dips and the changes. So that's kind of interesting to watch. But looking ahead to the race, you know what's interesting? The guy that has the best starts so far this season has been Muhammad Alif, and he's starting P3. I know it's a short run up to turn 1, but I wonder if he could lead into that first corner.
Yep, well, it's only a matter of time before we head into race 1 to find out. But talking about drivers that have done well in qualifying, I want to put a little bit of a focus on Inigo Anton. And if you are on our Facebook live stream, you'll see that he has a lot of support in the comment section. Don't forget, check out our live stream on Facebook. There's a lot of support. We've got Nice One Inigo, Yoo-hoo, Let's Go Inigo, and That's Our Boy. A lot of family and friend support. But Inigo, P2 in qualifying. You're only 2/10 away. Very, very far ahead from the rest of the pack. Tell us about your lap and tell us how you're able to gain so much time on that last lap.
Well, to be honest, I'm not really sure where I got my pace. Well, first I want to thank my team and my engineer Oi for giving me the setup. I would have not been able to do it without his setup and his guidance. And you know, I've just taken E1 the same way as I used to, with just keep on practicing, especially with my quali. I know I'm pretty good at quali. And yeah, my lap was just really good. I was actually surprised I was able to do that time. So, you know, just looking forward right now and just focused.
Well, we know pole is important, but it's not everything. We've acknowledged multiple times that this is a very hard track to overtake on. What's your strategy? How are you going to make that overtaking move to get into first?
Ooh, so yeah, you know, starting second is always also good, still in the front row, and you always have the best chance to try and take the lead. But you know, right now, looking at where we are in the championship in terms of team and myself, I don't really need to risk it just for one win over second place. So you know, hopefully my strategy is just to be as clean as possible and stay safe. And even though my race pace won't be as quick, I feel I just want to try and be in the top 5 or maybe finish in the podium. But you know, if first place opens up in the first corner, then you know, I'll try and pull away with it.
You gotta take it, man. I hope you've been practicing your starts. You gotta go for it. You haven't won an E1 yet. You did cross the line first in Montreal, but we had to give you that penalty. So, well, good luck. Hopefully today can be the day for you.
Well, hopefully. Thank you.
All right, best of luck, Inigo. And to all of his supporters on Facebook, keep it posting, keep commenting. We love it. And to everybody else who's supporting other drivers in the championship, be sure to leave your comments as well. Now, we have our official results from qualifying, and that's over to you, Des, to walk us through the top 5.
Thanks to EvoClubInsurance.com, our official top 5. Mohammed Ibrahim, 4 out of 4. He'll pick up 5 points for there ahead of Inigo Anton for GT Rail Your Asia. Team Flash with 2 in the top 3. Mohammed Alif in P3. Kalen Chin from Black Wolf in P4. That's a good drive from Kalen. Don't count him out. And Josh Purwood with fire in his belly in Black Arts Racing in P5.
All right, so the race is going to be very tough because it is hard to overtake. Where on this track can the drivers overtake, though?
First corner off the line is the best place to do it. But you know, there are wars everywhere, so you get it a little bit mixed up. You're going to be in the war and you're going to be right to the back. Damage is off, so you can finish the race, but you really cannot afford an incident on the first lap. And that's why Inigo's been a bit smart as well. He says he's not going to take too many risks. And that might be the smart thing to do. But if I'd never won an E1, I'd just be thinking about the win. Win, win, win. That's all that matters, and I'd be going at it for turn 1. But to answer your question, where to overtake, you get a good exit out this corner onto the back straight, the banking. That's best place to overtake into the next chicane. Really, there is a braking area there. You can break that overtake someone there, or at least try and make someone defend. If you can make someone defend into the chicane, then you can try and get a better exit out of it. And if you can get a good exit out of it, then you can try and overtake into the last corner, as we see Nakib getting too close to the wall. So those are really the two spots, down the back straight and into the last corner.
You see, this is what I love about ovals and rovals. It's hard enough to overtake on a normal track, but it's hard enough to just complete a lap without spinning. I mean, we're seeing one of our past reigning champions spinning on practice, which is just about to wrap up. And we've got race 1 just around the corner. I'm going to hand it over to Amanda to walk us through pre-race 1.
Congratulations to the top 5 for snatching the qualifying points and a good starting position for the next sprint race. The Charlotte Roval is a unique infield road course that has already proven to be an exciting venue since its NASCAR debut in 2018. The combination of its road course and oval challenges the best of both drivers and teams. A car that's good on the oval may not be as good in the infield and vice versa. What is the ultimate strategy and the perfect setup to take on the Charlotte Roval? Who will win the first podium tonight? Stay tuned and find out.
Really looking forward to this. EvoClubInsurance.com for are our main sponsors. Shout out for them. Thank you for that. Ammo. Amanda's set it up nicely. 2 races we've got. We're going to have a night race as well. That makes a difference.
Yeah, quite, especially as we look at the grid right now. Under the floodlights, very cold. Yeah, we might expect a lot of drivers struggling in terms of the darkness, but in terms of grip-wise, there's going to be a lot of grip because the colder conditions can generate better tire temperatures.
Okay, let's go through the grid. Ibrahim and Anton on the first row. Kalen Chin alongside Alif on row 2. Josh Perwin alongside Josh Thomas, the Aussies, on row 3. Alongside Luke Bannister, Miko Nasi. It's some high quality there. Naki Baslan down in P9, having secured his 12th win in E1 Championship last week alongside Mick Hakimi. Dominic Ang, Nakib's teammate, 1 row down with him alongside Joaquim Garrido. A little bit further down after Joaquim Garrido. Tough day at the office for Arif Azmi so far, alongside Aaron Lim from Team EGG. What a season Aaron is having. Dan Martin on debut alongside Melvin Tan on the 8th row. 9th row, Vantagiato and Ben Seek. Welcome back to Ben and to Lancelot from the Apex Academy. He's alongside Keithley Othman down on the 10th row of the grid. 20 starters for this particular race. 20 starters. And
they're on the way already. And that's another great start for Ibrahim. He's got a jump on Inigo Anton as Alif tries to challenge Inigo for second, and then Inigo manages to hold on to second place. Actually, they're going side by side here, coming to the infield.
Well, it's Ibrahim who's got off to a storming start. Ibrahim is leading the way. Inigo Anton under pressure from Alif Hamilton. And this is going to be a tough task because Kalen Chin has also got in there as well. Actually, where is Alif? Alif is down in 6th. Alex dropped off, and Alex Young, did you see what happened to Alif? Because you were expecting a big start from him.
Yeah, no, missed what happened to him, but yeah, he's all the way down in P6. He's got you can see him there at the end of the straight. Oh! Who was that, Josh?
Nakib Aslan has just been eased out of the track. Alif moves into P5. Nakib drops down up at the very front. Alif's teammate, Ibrahim, is streaking away. Look at that for a lead in the early stages, Alex Young.
Yeah, so I think Inigo Anton was defending into the chicane at the end of the back straight, and that caused a huge bottleneck. It allowed Ibrahim to have a huge gap at the front, but that bottleneck then it caused Nakib to get edged out, and he's dropped down to P7. But now Inigo Anton with a bit of daylight between him and Josh Perwin in P3.
There is Josh Perwin in P3 in the red livery. Wow, all kinds of mayhem in the early stages. This is such a quick track that we can expect all kinds of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just under a minute, this track. We saw the qualifying times around 53 seconds. It's like a bull ring, It could happen at any time. It just drivers all over the place, trying to find a way to get past each other. And Ibrahim did say in the interview, it's hard to overtake. Well, we've seen already some drivers actually managing to make one, and others whacking to the back of other drivers. It's actually going to be manic here, and we're only about a minute into the race.
It is. It's an epic start. We are on board with Josh Perwin. He is in P3 at the moment, and with P3 because Ibrahim and Anton look like they've got away. In fact, Mohammed Ibrahim, I've got to go and talk about Mohamed Ibrahim, Alex, because he's so far away, we might not have to talk to him for a while.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the last time you watch him in this race because he is going to disappear. All the action is behind him as they fight. Oh, I love this shot. Oh, scrapes the barriers there. So he's really pushing at this point. Probably going to go for fast slap, while the tires are still fresh. But yeah, big lead for Ibrahim. And it's 15-minute race, 4 seconds already. No one's going to touch him, I think.
We have seen Ibrahim, though, be a little bit impetuous in the past, and with the tightness of these walls, if he pushes it just a little bit, the rest have got to believe that Ibrahim will make a mistake.
Well, impetuous, you might say one thing, but he is also somewhat impervious, especially he's out in front. He's only have a struggle if he's trying to overtake people, and that's in
Inigo made a mistake. Sorry to interrupt there. Inigo just made a mistake, and now Josh is all over him.
Yeah, that was lucky though. I was thinking they was going to do a Jimmy Johnson on Martin Truex Jr. in 2018, the very first time they used the Roval here, whacking to the side of somebody. But in this case, Anton then held on, and now he's under pressure, severe pressure in fact, from Josh Bowen. Bowen then wants to get yet another second place. Only 2 second places, 1 second place so far this season. He wants a second one here right now.
That is the battle for P2. Inigo Anton for GT Radial Eurasia in the white. He is currently in P2, but overtaking Alex Young, you've said it's mighty difficult, and you can see just how difficult it is. You're relying on others to make an error.
Well, yeah, but I think the best thing, Josh almost, if he'd found a little bit of a better exit onto the back straight, he could have had a go. Oh, and he does have a go.
Oh no!
Contact. Oh, unlucky. Oh, wow, netcode there as well. It looked like he was clear. Yeah, so disaster for Inigo Anton.
Well, shoes on the other foot for Josh then. Remember, he was complaining about Stewart's decisions last week. This week, he might be in the microscope for him for all the wrong reasons again.
But at the moment, Mohamed Ibrahim leads. Josh Perwin in second, showing real pace. Mohamed Ibrahim, a lap time, 55.66. is half a second faster than anybody else. Well, 0.3 of a second faster than Kalen Chin, as we look at Inigo Anton's problem.
Yeah, going back here right now, I can see that Josh actually was trying anybody else. There we go, we look from behind him. He had the line on the inside. Anton really went deep, hugging into the apron. Josh had the line ready, and yeah, it looks like a bit of netcode there. You can see quite a bit of space between the two cars. So Josh thought he might have had the space, and unfortunately, the netcode just got in the way, and Anton into the wall. But luckily, not out of it completely, because he's still, about 2 seconds behind Nakib Aslan. So he could still salvage a top 5 here if he could just get past Nakib.
Let's look at Nakib Aslan, who was last week's race winner, and he did it coming from a long way down, Alex Young. Here he's in P5, but he's 3 seconds down on Kalen Chin in P4.
Yeah, so the P5's not bad. I got a feel for Inigo Anton, but yeah, it really looked like netcode, because I think like Josh gave him plenty of space. But we'll have to review it. I'm sure the stewards have looked at it again. But yeah, Nakib P5, that's not so bad, considering he had such a bad qualifying. It looks like one of our games. We have to go to a different PC.
Yep.
And here we go, the backup PC. And so we're back on board with Alif. So the netcode obviously caused them some issues. But who else is struggling there? It's the Australians. Joshua Thomas is all the way down there. Luke Bannister is also outside the top 10. So quite a few drivers struggling a bit at the moment.
Dan Martin back on his debut as well. He's a long way down, Dan Martin in P18. But let's go on board with Josh Thomas just for now. Thomas currently in P... Where is he? Where is Thomas? It's a long way down, isn't it?
Yeah, 10th place.
P10.
10th, yeah, 10th, and behind the other GT Radial car of Joaquin Garrido, and behind another position to his teammate Nasi, who's up in 8th. So Garrido's in the sandwich there between the safe house cars as we look further in front. Ibrahim was already lapping a car there, so it might have been Keithley Hoffman. Yeah, Keithley Hoffman in the ERGP Icons car being overtaken. But that's the nature of the circuit, actually, because it's such a short circuit, 54 seconds. You can actually encounter a back marker if that back marker previously had an accident.
Ibrahim, 5 seconds clear. This is phenomenal. Josh Perwin is the man in P2, and Josh Perwin has got a bit of space between himself and P3, Mohamed Alif. Back markers could come into play here, Amo.
And you cannot remind that to Ibrahim without thinking of what happened in Montreal, where Keithley Hoffman, this very same guy he just overtaken, took him out in the lead at the final corner. So spoke too soon, I'm afraid. Josh Purwin nearly got taken out there by Keith Leopold. Yeah, there's plenty of space for back markers to just get out of the way because it's a big oval, you know, so I'll be surprised if back markers do cause action too.
Well, there is the man in P1, Mohamed Ibrahim. If we just look back from Ibrahim, we'll just look into the distance. It's almost like he's got a circuit on his own just at the moment. Mohammed Alif Hamilton in P3, Alex, and I think you were expecting a faster start from him, but instead he's under pressure from Kalen Chin.
Yeah, but you know, P3 is great considering his poor start. He's found a way past Kalen. That poor start in that first lap, he was down in P6, so P3 is a really good recovery drive by Alif. Kalen there in P4, I think something happened on lap 2 or 3 because he was in third and then he dropped down. But yeah, at least got big pressure from Kalen. Kalen's not going away. Kalen's going to want that podium position back, so Kalen's going to be pushing very hard.
I'm just looking at how hard Alif, bottom right of your screen, how hard he's having to work. Because he's looking tense. His upper body normally looks relaxed, Ammo. Now he's looking really kind of tense.
Yeah, he's sitting upright, almost like as if he's on a bike even, Des, to be honest, because look at that. That's a consideration. We did not see this kind of thing in Season 1 where he just looks so impervious out in front. Now he's having to fight his battles against a horde of iRacing specialists, and definitely not the same so far, but he's doing well for himself. Third place at the moment, and he has not done a lot of wrong right now as he is under pressure here from Kalen Chin.
Approaching 6 minutes to race. We're over halfway. Ibrahim is miles out in front, but
no, he's not.
Not as far out as in front as he was, Alex.
Yeah, no, you know, Josh he's got the fastest lap of the race. He's pushing very hard, and he's closed the gap. He's only 2.5 seconds off Ibrahim, who we're riding on board right now with. I wonder if Ibrahim's got an issue. Now, 2.7, no, the car looks fine. I think maybe he might have lost some time behind a back marker, but Josh is definitely driving well with the fastest lap of the race.
Here is Josh Purwin, the whip pan from the camera. So's there. Oh, look at the back markers getting involved. I think that was Ben Seek and Dan Martin causing a little bit of a problem, but Purwin has got away from them. Alif's got away from them. This is fascinating. Such a short circuit, and the back markers have come into play. I can't imagine what the reverse grid race is going to be like.
Yeah, and one thing, right, notice, I think it might have been caused by a slipstream car. I don't know which one. It could have been Dan Martin, it could have been Vantagiato, but there was a car before Josh overtook that it spun coming out onto the oval. So I think Ibrahim might have even been involved in that one, slowed up slightly, and that's why he lost about 2 seconds. So that's my only hypothesis of what happened. Is we are now on board with what happened to Dan Martin. Let's see here. Well, we lost the replay, but there we go. And well, this is gonna be the point of contention. Yep. Looks like my hypothesis was proven right. It was a slipstream car. It was Dan Martin who actually caused Ibrahim to slow up by about 2 seconds. So that's why Josh actually gained that amount of time.
Okay, let's look at Inigo Anton. We spoke to him after a decent qualification from him. He's down in P5, having been edged out, but he's got himself ahead of Nakib Aslan, Alex.
Yeah, so he missed that overtake. But yes, Inigo Anton finding a way past Nakib Aslan. Kind of surprising because, like we said, this track is hard to overtake. And while Anton does look like he's a quicker car, he wasn't a lot quicker than Nakib. So somehow, somewhere, he's found a way past him.
Gosh, those back markers getting in the way there of Nakib Aslan, but he's managed to find a way. It really is just like a karting circuit there. The drivers are being whipped around, but Mohamed Ibrahim is seemingly having few problems. He's re-edged into a 3-second lead over Josh Purwin, so any worries he might have had look to have been evaporated. Looks like he's driving a lot cleaner again now, Amo.
Yeah, that little scare might have actually woken him up a bit, so he will actually try to re-engage the racer mode and try to, you know, consistently hit the lap times that he did prior to that incident. So he's building up the gap again. Remember, it was 2.3 seconds at one point. Now it's back to 3.3. So he gained over the second in a couple of laps since that incident. It's like Ibrahim had never missed the beat, to be honest.
Here is Mohamed Ibrahim. Let's talk about some of those we expected to do better. Miko Nasi down in P8. Alex Young. He's got Luke Bannister for company.
Yeah, I know Miko's, he's had a tough week with work and stuff, so I know he's not been able to practice as much as he usually does. So I think that's why he's just struggling a little bit for pace. Not showing the sort of pace we've seen from him in the first 2 races.
And how about Luke Bannister, who's we're on board with Miko now. Luke Bannister is the man right behind him. After a debut podium, he's not really been the force we expect him to be for Black Arts Racing.
No, yeah, I mean, 3 of these drivers have been surprisingly off the pace. Miko Nasi, Luke Bannister, and of course Joshua Thomas all the way down in P11. So a bit of a surprise.
Right then, Muhammad Alif in P3 at the moment. Is he closing in on Purwin? You know he is. He is. He's closed in on Josh Purwin quite considerably over the last couple of laps, Amo.
Yeah, indeed. And Alif then looking to make it a Flash 1-2 for the first time this season. Though, that said, he would have actually loved to have been the first guy to come through in the Flash car. Nonetheless, it's a bit of all rivals sparring again as... Oh, he hits the one and loses a rear tire. Luckily, he kept it going because the damage regenerates itself. And I thought for a second, Ali might have actually lost his head. But luckily, he kept it in and just plowed the throttle to get back into the race.
Well, that's what Virtual does for you, Alex.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we're looking to maybe take off the damage. I'll put it later on, but we'll see.
Nonetheless, Mohammed Ibrahim, his teammate, is romping away with this. He's now taken that lead up to best part of 3.6 seconds. His best lap of 55.66. He is motoring. Gosh, championship leader for a reason, Amo.
Absolutely, impervious form. He, apart from a couple of races where he kind of lost it, where it's due to accidents, and like in the second race in Interlagos, he could have actually won, but was involved in too many incidents. Yeah. Now he's actually continuing that fine form. It's going to be his 4th win of the season, and I hazard to guess the fourth fastest lap of the season he's going to take.
A quick look on Lance Lau, who's in P14. Welcome back to him. Apex Racing for them, but back up to the front. Ibrahim, Alex Young, superlatives. We run out of them.
Yeah, I'd love to go back to what's happening with. Here we're watching Kifli Hoffman going to turn 2. What's happening there? It's just.
Who's he taken out?
That was Lance Lau. He took out Lance Lau, and by the looks of it, he thought that he gave him enough room, and it had unintended consequences. It looks almost like Jochen Mass and Gilles Villeneuve, Alex, in 1982. It was like he had good intentions, but unfortunately it turned out wrong.
Yeah, I would love to see the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th, actually, because Inigo Anton and Nakib Aslan are swapping positions. Aslan back up to 5th place at the moment. So this battle is still going on and on.
Nakib in the Stratos green. Now then, the time is coming good. Oh, Inigo tries to go on the inside. You've got to take big risks if you're going to get a place back, though, on the last lap. 8 seconds to go. Nakib spins out and, well, regenerates, but will lose 1, 2, 3 places up at the front, Alex. No doubt we'll see that, but the checkered flag has gone, and we have got our race victor. And it is Mohammed Ibrahim for his 3rd victory of this season. 4th victory of this season.
Yeah, really good result by Ibrahim. All in control. Had the pace as well. He didn't get fastest lap of the race, though. That goes to Josh Purwin. Josh Purwin got fastest lap of the race, so he'll take those 2 points in P2.
So Purwin 2nd, Alif 3rd, Kalen Chin 4th, Anton 5th, Nakib dropping down to 7th, but our race winner, Alex Young, for a chat, Mohammed Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, congratulations. Another great result. Good win there. You want to talk us through your race? Looks like you had some small issue with one back marker.
Yeah, it was a very close incident with one. I think 2 of the back markers, I almost got wiped out the race 2 times.
But you kept it on the track, kept it on the black stuff. How's the car going?
Yeah, the car's good. The stack is just extremely tough to drive, and it requires everything from you.
You saw a few people just by themselves making mistakes, so it does look like it's very, very hard. What makes it so hard?
Yes, because there's no margin of error. You just go straight into the barrier, or you spin, or something like that. So that's the main reason why it's so difficult.
Okay, Dan, any questions?
What are your strategies going into race 2? I mean, you've got pole, you've had race 1, P1, but race 2, that means you have the disprivilege of being in a reverse grid and starting all the way at the back. How are you going to approach that? What corners are you going to be looking at to maximize your overtaking?
Obviously, the main thing, I have to keep it clean, not make any silly mistakes or anything like that. So make sure not to have any incidents with anybody. That's the main thing, honestly, There's nothing else I have to do, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just as Alex said, keep it on the black stuff. Congratulations on your win, and we look forward to seeing what you can get up to in race 2.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Des, it's over to you to walk us through the unofficial results of race 1.
These are unofficial. I've got to say that after what happened last week. But Mohammed Ibrahim, I don't think there's going to be much doubt. A winner by nearly 4 seconds for Team Flash over Josh Perwin. Well raced by Josh Perwin for the Black Arch Racing for P2. Mohammed Ali for Team Flash in 3. Kalen Chim, we didn't really focus on Kalen, but that's a solid race from the young Aussie for 4. Inigo Anton, well, he went up and down the leaderboard, but a P5 finish, very solid. Ahead of Mika Hakimi. Best result of Mika's season so far. Can be quick. Naki Baslan had that blowout near the end to drop a place to 7. Nasir creditable 8th, ahead of Bannister. Dominic Ang for Stratos Motorsports in 10. Points down to 15. More points for Aaron Lim. More points for Arif Azmi. Points for Melwin Tan from Team EGG. And Lance Lau on his return, getting ahead of Ivan Vantagiato. He'll pick up points for P16.
Well, that's race 1 done and dusted, and our Roval has delivered. We've got more analysis to come from race 1 in the run-up to race 2, but first, a very short commercial break.
When I switched to Pro Mileage, I got 47% of savings.
I paid 790 for it. Compared to any other insurer, the cheapest was 1,290. Pro Mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper.
My Volvo XC40 1 year premium 6,000 over ringgit. Then I start taking Pro Mileage. I say, huh? 3,200 plus ringgit.
Claim went through pretty fast. I got my car back pretty quickly as well.
Called them about 8 o'clock in the morning. I think within 1 hour it came.
Welcome back to the E1 Championship, where we've just wrapped up race 1 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, what we call a Roval. The first time we've had a night race, the first time we've had a Roval all in one. It's delivered, and I think this is the strongest performance we've seen for a driver in first place in quite a while. I mean, Mohamed Ibrahim has just been so fast in qualifying, and he's finally been able to put that together in race 1. He obviously had a bit of a disappointing performance in Indianapolis. What do you think is the key to his speed? It looks like he's just clobbering the corners and making the most of those chicanes.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't, you know, sometimes even the quick guys, sometimes you can see them maybe not using all the road, or they're just not rotating the car enough on the entrance. You know, when the field is this tough, you need to really have no weaknesses. And, you know, someone like Ibrahim is certainly doing that, doing a really good job, rotates the car really well. And he's always using every little bit of the track. You know, we saw him kiss the barrier a couple of times, but not too much, not enough to lose speed or break the car, but just the right amount.
Well, speaking of breaking the car, there were a fair few incidents during that race. Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights from race 1.
Okay, we got the start. Ibrahim with a great start. Another one with a good start. Oh, they see that's up to Bannister. Bannister went wide and got caught up in that start line crash. Nakib also with a good start. Then this traffic jam here on the first lap, and Alif tagged Nakib, so maybe there might be a protest on that. And then this great battle here with Inigo Anton, Josh Poen, but Josh looks like he gave enough space, but I'm going to say netcode. There was definitely a gap between the two of them. Unlucky though for Inigo Anton. Then this great battle between Nakib and Anton, but Nakib in the last lap of the race, that will annoy him greatly, but nothing to stop Ibrahim, who won the race by 3.7 seconds.
An outstanding performance by Mohamed Ibrahim to take the 25 points from Josh Perwin. But Perwin has the bonus of the fastest lap. Mohamed Alif makes it a 1:3.14 flash. Kalen Chin, solid as you like in P4. Head of Inigo Anton. Interesting to see if there will be an appeal by Inigo. Mika Hakimi's best result of the season ahead of Nakib. Miko Nasi, that's a very safe 8th for Miko and for Team Safehouse. Bannister and Dominic Ang completing the top 10. These results courtesy of Evo Club Insurance.
Well, in the end, it was Josh Perwin who once again maintained his consistency at the front. This is very, very important for the overall season and that championship title fight. He said early on in the show, I should be first in the championship. A P2 is going to be very, very good for him. I think we have some time to speak to the Australian Josh Perwin. Let's get him up on the screen. Josh Perwin, P2 and fastest lap. You must be pretty chuffed with that.
Yeah, I was quite happy. I kind of stuffed up my qualifying. I would have got a time that was quite near the pole, but I got a cut track at the last corner, so I had a bit to do in the race. There was a bit of a netcode incident between me and Inigo, though, where like we made contact, but like he was like 2 car lengths away from me. So it was really, really unfortunate, and I'm really, really sorry that happened to him because he had such good pace. But yeah, I was quite happy with P2 and my pace looked strong. I was catching up to Ibrahim, so hopefully I can keep it clean next race and get an alright result.
So pace is something I want to talk about. I mean, where did you find that speed? There was quite a big delta in qualifying between pole position and the rest, and you seem to have narrowed that down in the race. Where did you find the time?
Well, I just wasn't making as much mistakes. I think in qualifying I made a few huge mistakes, but in the race I was just being very consistent, and I find that especially on iRacing I've got a lot better race pace than I do qualifying pace, so I'd say it's probably a bit of poor qualifying and strong race pace.
Alright, well the pace is going to help you in your fight all the way to the front. Of course, we have a reverse grid in race 2. Any tips, tricks to share, strategies for overtaking and avoiding collisions?
I think that's all it's going to be about, avoiding collisions, because of course this track is quite tight, so got to try and be really careful at the start, not cause any incidents, and yeah, hopefully we can come out with a good result in this race as well.
All right, well, best of luck. We're looking forward to seeing you back on the top step of the podium.
Thank you.
Alex, I think we've got time for one more interview. Who should we speak to?
Mika Hakimi. You know, that's his best result of the season so far, P6. So good result for him. Yeah, let's try and talk to him. He had a good race pace as well. So let's see if we can chat to him. Maybe not.
Well, while we wait for Mika to appear on our screen, what kind of strategies in terms of setup are we looking at? Because it's a night race, the track is cooler, which means it's not as hard on the tires.
Yeah, it is. I think there's race 2 is 20 degrees, so it is going to be quite cool. Tire wear is not going to be an issue. I think we're going to see some different strategies. Some people might pit really early, some people might pit very late. It is going to be hard to make your way through a reverse grid race, though.
Well, strategy is going to be something that we can speak to Mika Hakimi about. Mika, P6, we were saying was the best result of the season so far for you. Good to see you back in the top 10, the top 6, I should say. Walk us through your race.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like my pace was too far off of my teammate Kalen. I mean, as usual in racing, you need to be as close to your teammate as possible. I think Kalen did a really good job today. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, considering the amount of time I put into today, I think P6 is a decent result. I think my lap times, even though they weren't quick, they were quite consistent. So I'm happy with that mostly.
And you start really good for race 2, so maybe you got a chance to get on the podium even.
Yeah, if I can get the start right, because if it weren't for the crash, I would have dropped like 5 positions in race 1. So.
Okay. Well, good luck for race 2.
Thank you.
Right. Well, like we said before, to finish in first you must finish. Got to keep it on the black stuff. We've got race 2 coming up next. Reverse grid, longer 30-minute race coming to you right after this commercial break.
When I switched to Pro Mileage, I got 47% of savings.
I paid 790 for it. Compared to any insurer insurer, the cheapest was 1,290. Pro Mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper.
My Volvo XC40 1 year premium 6,000 over ringgit. Then I start taking Pro Mileage. I say, huh? 3,200 plus ringgit.
Claim went through pretty fast. I got my car back pretty quickly as well.
Called them about 8 o'clock in the morning. I think within 1 hour it came.
Hello again and welcome back to E1 Season 2 Round 4 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. After a thrilling and exciting battle from the race leaders as well as the underdogs and back-to-back action, the 15-minute sprint race gives us more to expect in the upcoming 30-minute reverse grid race, which is also the last race for tonight. The two chicanes on the Roval, one on the back straight and one before the start-finish line, proved to be great for overtaking opportunities as drivers and teams attempt to outbrake each other. Will the drivers stay within the driving line or will they try to outmuscle their opponents? Let's find out more from the commentary desk.
Well, if they try to outmuscle them, it's going to be very difficult. E1 Championship Season 2. It's the Premier Sim Racing Championship. Delighted to say thank you to our sponsors, Evo Club Car Insurance with Pro Mileage. You can save 40% off your next car insurance renewal. EvoClubInsurance.com. So a shout out to the sponsors, but a shout out to Mohammed Ibrahim for race number 1. But he starts race number 2, the reverse grid race, in P12, Ammo. Difficult to overtake so many in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we can look at the guy who started P12 in the race just now. Joaquin Garrido, he finished actually in 17th. So, 16th actually. So it's not easy to overtake here, as Ibrahim also stated. But it also can be proven that you can try a gutsy maneuver here and there. We saw like Josh, for example, Perwin, trying to overtake Inigo Anton. It didn't pay off well because Anton went into the wall. But for Josh, it proves that actually he can overtake on the circuit. So it's possible still for Ibrahim to claw up some deficit from starting in 12th to be up in the top 5. But nonetheless, it's just going to be still difficult.
One of the comments that I've got from seeing race number 1 is the walls are so tight that the drivers are having to work extra hard. Alex, the walls are there. We saw Alif Hamilton, who is really tense in his racing style.
Yeah, there are those camber changes here. It's not as big as the camber changes that you get at some other tracks, but it's kind of a little bit rough and a little bit bumpy. So you do feel the loading through the wheel, especially when you got a direct drive wheel. And you can see that you just got to throw it through the corners. And if you get it right and you go all the way up to the wall, you can carry so much more speed. But you go just a little bit more, you're going to hit the barrier and that's it, you're done. So it is a very fine line here in Charlotte.
Just got a slight delay. We're going to get to the reverse grid race, but it gives us a chance to talk about those rivals to Mohammed Ibrahim because he's been so quick. We didn't really mention Kalen Chin from race number 1, the young Aussie Ammo, consistently there, consistently challenging for the podium places.
Yep, looking at the results that he has so far this season, a 4th best result was 2nd in the reverse grid in Interlagos, then a pair of 7s in Montreal, then to Indianapolis it was 16, of course, because he was up in the top 5 at one point until he hit the back of Arif, which was a bit of an unfortunate incident because he was adjusting something in his wheel. That could have been another top 5 finish. And then today 4th. Quietly going by his business, to be honest. He's just incognito for most of the time, but when he delivers the results, you can see it in the championship standings when he's up there.
So we've got the reverse grid race coming up relatively shortly. Again, we'll just focus on one or two of the racers who we didn't have a chance to pay much attention to. And Alif, quietly, in P3.
Yeah, another one as well. And the fact that P3, it could have been another P, could have been a P2 to be honest.
Yeah, it could.
It would have been the second 1-2 of the season for Flash, and because we already had another 1-2 with Black Arts Racing, so not many 1-2s this season. It shows the fact that the competition is really wide open this year, Des.
As for the returnees, the Lance of Lance Lau, he got himself a P14, so it's good to see more drivers coming back into the grid. P14 is respectable for the Apex team.
Yep. Was it 15? I think because I think
14
it was
or 15.
15.
Yeah, he picked up a point. That's
1 point. Yeah,
yeah,
picked up points.
That's what I was going to say
on his return. So that's actually really good for a confidence booster. At least he knows for a fact that he can actually fight with these guys. And being away for a while, you could have actually imagined if he started from the very first race of the season, he could have accumulated more than just 1 point that he got from the first race.
Again, we will get to the race in just a moment. I'm looking forward to the idea of a night race. From your racing experience, sim racing, is it more difficult to concentrate? Does it make the Roval that much more difficult? Because it already looks a perilous course.
Well, thanks to floodlights because of NASCAR, for example, because NASCAR Cup Series, they run here even at night on Charlotte. It's pretty easy to see, but it is quite daunting when you consider the fact that the lights can be quite blinding for certain drivers, especially when it's at night. And really the concentration has to be paid onto the road, because the moment that you lose control into the wall, that's it. Race is gone. In real life, at least, or if damage that is actually on and you can actually immediately go out. These guys, they can recover from it, but it will still be quite damaging to their races.
Just reintroducing Alex back into the conversation, if we can, Alex. We're getting there soon. You've deliberately chosen a night race because you like to really muck with the minds of these races, don't you?
We like to see pretty things as well, you know, and it's kind of a twilight into night race. The sun has set as the race starts, but it's, you know, it's the sun, the glow of the sun still hangs around for a while. The last 10 minutes will be in the complete darkness. The track is well lit around the oval, but in the infield it's not well lit. So the drivers are going to struggle a bit with that when they go from really bright lights to no light in the middle of the track. So they will have that contrast to go back and forth through the sectors. That will make it a bit tricky for them, but we love making it tricky for them. We do ask a lot of them, these guys, but they do perform admirably.
Okay, let's look at Miko Nasi from Team Safe House. So the practice good. We've got some pictures back as the sun sets. What is live television without a problem or two? Miko Nasi ammo, solid stuff. P8, not at his best. We know that. He's probably not going to win the title this year, but always competitive, always worth points.
Absolutely, and we saw, like in Season 1 and Season 0, how he could have been the champion that time, but it just went right through his fingers at the very crucial points in the season, and could have been a champion in his own right. But unfortunately this season, yeah, I had to agree, he's out of contention for the title unless something dramatic happens to the front runners of the championship for him to actually get back into it. And another guy we should actually be talking about as well is Inigo Anton. His turn of form, absolutely brilliant in the last few races, especially the part where he drove so well to almost win the race in Montreal. He could have been there had it not been for that incident with Luke Bannister. So really, the guy who's actually in form besides Ibrahim is Inigo Anton. We should really be watching out for him in case he actually springs another surprise.
I was going to ask you, as a racer, if you have a win cruelly taken off you by race control, still mad with them over that one, but how does it affect you? Does it affect confidence?
Well, for me personally, yes it does actually, because it was a win that was won by pure effort, only to be taken away by a technicality. In this case, it might have been a technicality based on merit because it was an accident that he could have easily avoided, but it would still be detrimental to confidence nonetheless. But Anton has amazingly not been phased by that. He still has been performing quite well in the last couple races. In fact, even at Indianapolis, another top 10 finish, and just in the first race just now, could have been a second had it not been for that incident with Josh to end up finishing 5th. So he's quietly confident, this guy, so he could easily spring a surprise here in race 2.
We're still in practice, as you can see. The second race will come. On with Aaron Lim, and to reintroduce Dan, who's the actual host of this. I know you're a big fan of Aaron Lim. You've got a soft spot for him, don't you?
I do. I mean, I think I've got a soft spot for everybody I've grown up with in the motorsport scene. Aaron Lim is one of them. He is a team boss, team manager of one of our rival teams that we used to race up against. But you know, he's a friendly face. He's been a mentor to many Malaysian drivers, and Alex, as you'll attest to, you know, he's been in some of the fastest cars in the world. So he's racing something almost like what we're racing in on iRacing, but in real life.
Race is coming, reverse grid now.
Okay, so the reverse grid race is about to get underway. It is Aaron Lim on pole position alongside Josh Thomas, Angam Bannister, Miko Nasi on the third row with Nakib, Inigo Anton on the fourth with Mika Hakimi, Kalen Chin and Alif on the fifth row, Josh Perwin and Mohammed Ibrahim on the sixth row. Going down, Arif Azmi and Lance Lau, unlucky to miss out, Melwin Tan and Joaquim Garrido, Vantagiato and Ben Sieg. Dan Martin is there, which means that somebody couldn't get into the into it. Did I see Nakib? Yeah, Nakib is there. So it'll be a rolling start on this occasion, Ammo, which can be awkward. You've just got to make sure you get it right.
And it will be quite awkward because the final corner is a chicane, so I don't know how the drivers will maintain ranks and rows when they go out. And nice shot though. I like how the cars actually lined up here before they start the race, because it's almost like a Le Mans style start. But they're going to go through a round behind the safety car for an entire lap before they come out to the Toyota chicane, and they come up to the green flag as Aaron Lim now gets the field underway here
It's
for the
about to
formation.
start. It's going to go straight to a start, actually.
We are going to go straight to a start. Aaron Lim is the man who will be in the yellow car at the very front. There is Aaron Lim. The safety car is there. We keep an eye out on the lights up at the top as they come into this really tough first corner. So the safety car has stayed out.
Oh, you're right. It's going to be one whole lap before they actually start.
And one thing to note, we are missing one car on the starting grid, which should have been Kifley Hoffman, but due to the amount of accidents that he's had,
I've just heard actually from Kifley that has a connection issue.
Oh, connection issue. So we thought he got pulled up because of technicalities, but okay. So technical issues and he's out of the race. So unfortunate for him, he will not be racing for the second one. But for the likes of Ibrahim, who had a scare a bit when he was trying to lap him, he might be relieved to now see him in his way.
Yeah, and just to talk quickly about Aaron Lim, you know, it's funny seeing him in a yellow car because I was his teammate. He did drive A1 Team Malaysia in A1 GP. Was it, God, years ago, 15 years ago. So yeah, it looks like
the final race in Brands Hatch, yes.
Yeah, A1 Team Malaysia car in the yellow colours. So there he is. Good to see him on pole. Let's see. He's an experienced driver. He doesn't have the pace perhaps to stay there in the race, but I fancy he will drive well. And of course, Josh Thomas right next to him in second. He needs the points, doesn't he?
Yeah, and breaks the run of good form that he had because he finished 11th right. All of his points, finishes prior to that was 6th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, and 5th. So it's all been in the top 10. First ever outside of the top 10 finish for him. So he might be a bit gutted that runs over. But now he's got a very good opportunity here to get a race win.
Well, it's they've got to be really patient on this warm-up lap. You can almost feel the feet saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. But patience is a virtue in this warm-up lap, Alex, because you can't overtake that safety car. You just need to get yourself ready for when the rolling start is there. P3 is it Dominic Ang in the first of the Stratos Motorsports?
It is Dominic Ang. And for Aaron Lim, it might be a bit of familiarity with him because in A1 GP was also rolling start, so he could easily just dictate the field here. Unfortunately, he didn't get to do so at the front of the grid in the final ever A1 GP race. He gets to do it now on the Charlotte Roval here. Quite daunting to see the other drivers right behind him, to be honest.
And the floodlights are good, but as you said, Alex, once you go infield, into which is after the first or second corner, inside the track, the lighting changes. Is that reflected in the game as well?
Yeah, that does. It does get changes in the game. You can see there's a glow from the sky that is lighting everything, but it will be tricky for the infield when it gets darker. But yeah, we're about to go.
We are all just about set. Aaron Lim off to a good start. Look at that. Luke Bannister's also in there. Dominic Hang holding off. And that is spinning out Josh Thomas very, very early on.
Can we go back to the front? I want to see what's happening in the front.
Aaron Lim, meantime, has benefited from that. Dominic Ang is in P2. Miko Nasi has got up because I tell you there's a problem for Naqib Aslan.
Naqib Aslan, who was up to P3, has crashed.
There is Naqib. It's a big crash as well. He's not down in P3 anymore. He's way down in P17. And let's have a look at the man who won race number 1 at Akanter, Mohamed Ibrahim, up to P8 in the early stages, Amo.
Yeah, absolutely, that's a brilliant start from Ibrahim. I did say earlier that it might be a bit difficult to overtake, especially from 12, but he's proven here to benefit from the accidents. We look at Mika Hakimi, he was involved in Naqib Aslan. Let's see what happened on board with him. And now we're looking outboard, so let's see what happened. Oh, well, that's a Black Arts car involved. Naqib was already involved in that one, and plenty of others get involved. In fact, Naqib hits Mika on the way back to recover, so he spins for a second time. That's so unfortunate. Mika on the back of his best finish of the season, now right at the back with the guys that he was involved with.
Back up to the front, Mohamed Ibrahim is there, but Aaron Lim is the race leader. Aaron Lim has got Dominic Ang for real company, and Dominic Ang is looking to lead a race for the very first time this season. But Miko Nasi and Inigo Anton in P4 just there. But let's have keep a close look on Dominic Ang. Let's see if he's able to get close to. He goes on the top of the oval, and does he get the lead? Yes, he does. A race lead for Dominic Ang.
Wow, right around the outside. That is actually brave. I have never seen anyone take around the outside in that particular chicane on this Roval, but Dominic Ang improved that. But also the fact that Aaron Lim played it smart. He didn't want to attack too much because we're still in the early stages of this race. As Inigo dives on the inside of Miko Nasi. What a move! The thing that in race 1 he got taken out there, he would be a bit shy about overtaking someone, but there you go, up to 3rd. But going back to Dominic Ang and Aaron Lim, they got real world experience, so they know how to drive like real world drivers here, give each other space. And Aaron Lim, oh, well, just as I said that, there we go. Anton just knocks him out. Oh no, imagine if actually Anton wins this, he's gonna get penalized for that one.
And Miko Nasi is the man who benefited from there. He just managed to edge in front, so Miko Nasi in P2, and you can see the change of the light there. But Dominic Ang, what a start, Alex Young, for Dominic Ang. It's a long, long way to go, but he's got himself a lead of a second half in the early stages.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the battle for P2, though. Yeah, we just missed it. Yeah, Anton and Miko Nasi came together again. Hopefully we'll see the replay of that. Yes, but he's Anton's found a way past Miko Nasi. They were side by side through the chicane. Nasi looking to come back at him, but not able to at the moment.
Kalen Chin it is who's in P3. In P4, Muhammad Alif, and Josh Perwin has got himself up from a start in P11, and he's up into P5 and looking really good. As we have a look at what happened firstly with Aaron Lim. Fare thee well, my friend. That's your chance of a win over.
Sad. There's meanwhile, we talk about a chance for a win gone. We saw Joshua Thomas spinning before even the race started, and we were tipping him to actually trying to get a win. Well, unfortunately, we kind of jinxed him there a bit. Now he's got all to do again from 13th. Unfortunate start for the Australian, as his fellow Australian Josh Perwin up in P5 right now after finishing second that first race. You might think that he might take it a bit safely, but a chance to win here because he's in front of Ibrahim.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the shot. We're on board with Josh Perwin, and he has got Mohammed Ibrahim closing at a rate of knots behind him. Look at the pace of Ibrahim Alex Young. He won race 1. He's fastest in qualification, up to P6 with still 26 minutes to race.
Yeah, I tell you what, Dominic Ang is really doing a favour for Josh Perwin and Ibrahim because he's holding everyone up. And look at that, I've got a train of 6 cars right now, all in shot.
Let's go on to Dominic Ang, and maybe we can go on to his cockpit, Ammo, and you can tell us how he's negotiating this lap and whether or not he's going to be able to hold on.
Well, I can't see in the mirrors right now how close the rest of the field is. About a 10th. Well, there we go. We got our answer. Anton's going to go around the outside. Looks like he's going to do the same thing that Dominic Ang did, which is trying to overtake here. But, oh, it's further behind. Nasi's been... No, is that
that's
Chin?
Chin.
That's Kalen. Kalen's been hit.
Kalen Chin loses 4 or 5 places, remains ahead of Miko Nasi, but Dominic Ang is in P1, and look who's in P2, Inigo Anton, who's somehow found a lot of pace at this race.
And certainly he has found a lot of pace in the last few races because he's definitely the man in form besides Ibrahim. As we look at what happened to Kalen Chin here, I would hesitate to guess he might have actually been tagged a bit by... No, it's actually... Yes, he was. He got tagged by Alif. 2 races in a row, he's actually tagged in the back of somebody into that chicane. That must be his least favorite corner on the entire track, to be honest.
But Dominic Ang still holds on to this lead, the night race at the Roval. He is under pressure, and Inigo Anton goes on the inside, real pace. Anton tries to take the lead, and Inigo Anton then goes over, loses it, and Dominic Ang holds on. Anton drops to P4.
Disaster from Anton. Oh, what has he got to do to win a race?
Well, I'll tell you what, he was actually lucky not to get collected by the other drivers here. He's in front of Melvin Tan. But lucky that he got onto the curb and missed the other drivers. He actually completely went off the racing line and didn't get collected by anybody. But at the expense of, he's now got a lot of work to do here to get back up to the front.
Best lap for Dominic Ang, 56.98, and he is just holding everybody up. Maybe he's just got a wider car than everyone. Muhammad Alif is on the backside of Josh Perwin. This is the battle for P1. Ang leads, Alex, but surely not for long.
Yeah, we need to focus on the battle at the front because Josh is going to look to try and... Is he going to dart down the inside? He's thinking about it. No, this is not the right angle we need. We need to see from Josh's point of view. He comes out of the chicane now. Good exit out of that corner. He's got to look down the inside, isn't he? He's got to think about going down the inside. He's got the slipstream. Is Dominic going to defend? He's thinking about defending. Oh, yes. He couldn't. Good defense there by Dominic. and Josh decides to nip back in.
So Josh Purwin looking for P1 after a P2 in race number 1. But this is pretty heroic work from Dominic Ang at this stage. We don't think it'll last, but he's already lasted about 3 minutes longer than I anticipated.
Wow, yeah, and Dominic then has a field of hungry sharks right behind him and actually trying to get his position. But credit to him, good defending, and he knew where to place his car in most corners to actually get ahead. But now I think this time he's going to have to defend even harder because Josh has the inside line coming onto the oval. Oh, tell you what, Dom actually just closed the door abruptly, but he can't close it this time. Josh actually takes the lead back.
Josh Purwin from Australia takes the lead. Black Arch Racing in the dark at the Royval. Alex Young, is that a significant moment in this race?
It is. It's, you know, both, now he's in front. Josh needs to bolt and try and put some distance between them before the pit stops. It's exactly what he needs to be right now in the lead. Inigo Anton was in the exact same position 2 laps ago. If Inigo Anton had got past Dominic cleanly, he would be in this position and dominating, moving away. But it's looking good for Josh.
My word, look how dark it does get in the middle there. Is that the driver's view? Because we're just seeing them coming out into the floodlights here, but it's almost pitch black once they go. A man, Lance Lau, is lapped already from Apex, and look at the pace of Purwin.
Yeah, actually, Des, to be honest, right, this is almost like Daytona's infield circuit where the lights are actually not as bright compared to the ovals. So, yes, it does affect the drivers. It's almost kind of like Monaco as well, where the flashing lights, in and out, dark and light, can actually affect the drivers in terms of visibility. But when you're back onto the Roval, you can see it much more clearly. So at least the racing around this area will be slightly more cleaner compared to the infield.
Mohammed Alif is the man in P3. Alif goes round the back marker. He can't get round Dominic Ang. Dominic Ang is really helping Josh Purwin. Teammates, will there be a protest?
Well, in this point, at least Dominic Ang is in the Stratos car out in front in 2nd place, while Nakib Aslan is in 9th. So
my tongue was very firmly in cheek there, must be said.
Well, actually, it looks like Stratos can repay back the favor then for Josh if that was the case. Now then, 2.3 seconds between 1st and 2nd. And yeah, it's actually helping out big time here for Josh if he was to actually win this. But so far, at least, we're only about 10 minutes in. We got another 20 minutes and a pit stop to go to actually determine this race results.
Indeed, the pit stops are going to be crucial as Dominic
Ang.
Ang.
That's a hit. That's a hit.
Dominic Ang is out. Dominic Ang is out.
Alif has actually hit Dominic, so that's the rear left tire gone. And that's, once again, Alif misjudging an overtaking maneuver. This is not his best race in terms of overtaking, as Luke Bannister and Melvin Tan actually are first to come into the pits.
Yeah, Bannister and Melvin Tan. Where is Dominic Ang? He dropped down to P. Well, he's dropped down below his teammate. It's Nakib Aslan who's the front of those green cars. Dominic Ang was enjoying his moment in the spotlight. He did well, but now he's in P10. And Josh Purwin is the race leader by 3.5 seconds. Amo Hazik from Mohammed Alif Hamilton. Ooh. That is a big lead, but Alif under pressure from the pacey Inigo Anton. Fast Filipino is looking. Let's have a look at what happened to Nakib Aslan, because Nakib down in P9.
Yeah, I don't think that's the replay we were looking for. Oh, wait. I can't think about it. There's the replay we're looking for. He's actually been hit by one of the safe house cars with Dominic involved. So friendly fire between the Stratos cars there. That might have been a recovering Dominic Ang as we look back at the live pictures. So Nakib stays 9th. Dominic from 1st all the way to 13th. Absolutely gone completely pear-shaped for Dominic.
Alex, we're looking at the driver view there. How does the driver really pick out the racing line when it gets that dark?
Okay, so for us it's difficult because when we go into that dark, it takes a while for our eyes to adjust. The drivers actually have no issue with this. It's kind of surprising, like Monaco when you go through the tunnel. You think there's an issue, but it's not really an issue at all. It looks tough for us though. It's like, how can they see? Yeah, the drivers shouldn't have an issue.
The lead for Josh Purwin is 2.9 seconds. That means that Alif Hamilton is posting decent lap times. Josh posted a 55.9 last time. Alif a 55.1. So Alif made up 0.8 of a second on that last lap, Ammo.
Yeah, he's definitely on fire. In fact, fastest lap of the race as well, 55.1 as you said, Des. 2.4 seconds ahead, 2.7 seconds already, the gap ahead of him right now. May not seem, may seem a lot, but it's actually quite little in the context of, look at that, traffic is actually coming to play as Perwin gets pied by a completely white car. I'm not sure whose car is that.
Let's quickly look down the... Ivan Vantagiato is the man in P19 at the moment. Lance Lau, Apex Academy in the yellow and blue. He's in P17. Dan Martin, welcome back. He's in, well, he stopped there. He's in P16 and out of the race, just to give a little bit of a mention to those further down. Dan Martin is back there, but Josh Perwin back in the lead. That lead is coming down. It's only 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's dropping significantly.
It is dropping significantly.
He might be thinking of a pit stop soon, but he doesn't have the option of soft or hard tires, because remember, these oval races, they tend to use only one compound, which is a primary compound tire, a harder compound. But whatever Josh is doing right now, he's losing a lot of time, probably by virtue of the fact that he's the first driver to negotiate through the traffic, so that's why I think he's losing time as we look for the behind Lance Lau and Mikko Nassi. Oh, big accident coming onto the oval into the pit lane. Now that might be a point contention here for the stewards, because a lot of drivers use that as part of the racing line to come onto the circuit, so we might have to look if that was actually for a pit stop.
Our race leader, Josh Perwin. Okay, he's re-established the lead. It got down to 2 seconds. He suddenly found a second on our Muhammad Alif Hamilton. So maybe Alif just had a couple of golden laps, but Alif, his last lap was a 55.3. Still quick. Alif into the pits.
So all the pit stops are happening right now. Alif's in the pits. Inigo Anton also went into the pits earlier on. So that's interesting. If he can get some clean laps, Anton might be able to pull himself back up into a podium position. So early pit stops happening now.
Okay, so Josh Perwin has stayed out. Does tyre wear come in the pace of these laps, or because it's so cool they don't really have to worry about the tyres?
I think tyre wear does come in a little bit, doesn't it? But
slightly,
not too bad.
Yeah, slightly, not too bad. But I was surprised for a second that Josh was losing that much time. Yes, he was one of the first drivers to get through the traffic, but also Alif's pace on the tyres, he managed to actually probably conserve it a bit more, and that's why he could catch up to him. But now that actually Alif has pitted, he's about 32 seconds behind. When will we see Josh come in? He's in fact staying out. So Josh is still staying out on the tyres, and he's losing a bit of pace when he was out in front. That's interesting, Alex.
Yeah, he must have different strategy from Alif. Obviously, Alif in the early laps. We should go back to Alif and Inigo Anton, see how they're doing after their pit stops. There they are together. So they've got some clean air, and they need this clean air to try and make some time up and maybe leapfrog, do the undercut on Josh Perwin. And just a bit of a quick question for you, Des and Amel. Josh, we've always seen him at the front, but has he won a race in E1? No, he hasn't, has he?
Yeah, he hasn't.
So if he could win the race today, this would be his first win, which is incredible because we've seen him lead so many races before.
But there is a long way to go. We are just beyond halfway. Let's have a look at what happens at Alif. Gosh, coming into the pit lane, Alif was just wasted there.
Whoa. And that looked like one of the, yeah, it's actually a Black Wolf car. That was Kalen, actually, that he knocked into. So might have been a bit dark because both cars are actually rather black anyway, so they couldn't probably see each other. But that's a big moment, and if Alif were to protest on that, that might actually be a position gain on track.
But at the moment, for Alif, it's dropped him down. He's P7 at the moment. Mika Hakimi. Now, we saw Mika Hakimi spin out early on. Mika, oh, he's yet to have a pit stop. He's up into P6 at the moment. Alif and Inigo are the two who had the pit stops. So effectively, they will be the race leaders. Or will Perwin, when he pits, he'll be able to hold on?
I think he'll be able to hold on because by virtue of the fact that it's a 33-second gap. So despite not having pitted yet, Perwin still actually holds on to the lead. He's increasing his lead to Alif. If we were to look through the pit stop cycle, net second place as well. Mika there got through a back marker quite scarily in the dark. That we did say that Alex did say that the drivers are used to it because they can only see the track clearly while the viewers cannot see. But sometimes accidents do happen in that dark area, so you cannot discount out human error here.
I'm not believing you, Alex, that this doesn't make a big impact on them.
I had a talk with quite a few of them because there was a concern about this infield section on whether you could see, and they said they could see perfectly fine, which is kind of a miracle, really. But I have to say, look at Josh as he comes from dark into light. He's doing a really good job because his last lap was a 55.7, which is matching Alif and Anton, so he will stay out in front when he does pit.
Nakib Aslan is second out on the circuit at the moment, but Nakib has yet to pit. Kalen Chin is third, which is effectively second. Now then, Kalen is effectively second, having taken out Muhammad Alif.
And Kalen's in the lead right now because he's in front of Alif.
Josh is pitting.
Josh is pitting.
Oh, let's go back to Josh.
Right, this will be the interesting. Kalen Chin out on the track as Josh Perwin comes in. Let's just stick with Josh and see how quick it can be. Muhammad Ibrahim.
Well, let's see. It might be another pit lane incident because I can tell that one car's coming through. Yes, it's a very simple accident. Oh my word. A
Cars
very
going
simple
off
accident.
everywhere.
Both flash cars involved while trying to get back into the fast lane, and turns out Ibra's actually been hit the worst. No wonder he's actually in P7 right now. And causes yet another accident further behind. That is quite scary, isn't it? Alex, I think you had to take back your statement. The dark areas do actually cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. Look at Ibrahim
Inigo
with the lead.
Anton then flies into trouble. Oh, Inigo, big moment for him. And we ask for the umpteenth time. What does Inigo Anton have to do to win a race?
Yeah, I think he must have gone over incident points. So I think that was a drive-through for him. But Josh Perwin has come back out into the lead. So that's a drive-through for Inigo Anton. This is what happened earlier on when Ibrahim went out. We're seeing the aftermath of that. We didn't actually see the whole accident. When he went up and then Inigo spun again. Oh, that's a shame.
There was a third car there. I'm not sure which car is that because that looks like a safe house car. So 3 cars involved in that accident. And the Dark Harriers on the Charlotte infield have actually caused the most mayhem, actually, to be honest.
Well, it means Muhammad Ibrahim has been able to quietly move himself up into P4. Fastest in qualification. Won race number 1. And with, 11 and a half minutes to go. Not a million miles away from a podium in race number 2, Alex Young.
No, he isn't. And he's on the podium now. He's in P3 right now. Looking at...
Mika again. So
no, we're just watching the accident from earlier
that
on.
was Mika involved. In fact, Mika was the one that hit Ibra. Goes into the wall. There was Inigo involved. So 3 cars involved in that accident. And Mika came out the worst, and a bit, also Ibrahim as well. So
I think that pit exit, you know, we talked about in the driver briefing how you have to stay to the left on the way out. But what happens is the guys going through turn 2, they don't see the cars there because they're in the blind spot. They're just taking the normal line. And obviously this is an issue we have with the circuit. It's probably why these kind of cars don't run on this circuit.
Now they tell us. But Josh Perwin, so long as he can stay out of danger, and danger does seem to follow Josh around, so let's not count that out completely. But if he stays out of danger, he has got a 7.8 second lead from Kalen Chin, who's in P2, as Muhammad Ibrahim moves up now into P3, having just overtaken Miko Nasi.
And the fact that Alif went through into the pits again, so I believe that was also yet another drive-through for the incident points. So not going all too well for Alif, being involved in an accident where he got hit by a car on one of the pit lanes. In fact, by a pit lane fight, we go into a replay of what happened here. This is between Nakib and it looks like a safe house car. That might have been Miko Nasi.
Oh,
yes, it is. Oh, well, bit of a tap there. Nakib's not liking that corner section whatsoever because remember that in that first race he was hit by Alif, and now on the way out he's also spun.
But I think that's the third incident I've seen from Nakib where he's spun or hit something by himself. Very unusual for him.
Josh Perwin, meantime, maintains that 7-second lead. Out of the darkness, comes into the light or approaches the light, but back markers ahead of him. Danger is there. Danger is lurking in the shadows.
And that danger in the shadow is the pole center for this race. Looks like it's Aaron Lim actually right in front. So hopefully Aaron can actually get out of the way easily because look at that high banking. He can take it to the right to actually give way. Not yet so far. Probably the blue flags have not been waving as Josh then, after his pit stop, 8 seconds ahead of Kalen. So whatever time he made on track, the overcut seems to work. And that's probably thanks to the fact that these are harder tires that allows him to do that.
Aaron getting lapped by Josh, being clever and just letting him through nicely.
Okay, so there's Josh Perwin. Let's have a look at the man in P2, Kalen Chin. And if we look if Kalen has got any pressure behind him, the answer is no, but Muhammad Ibrahim is closing in at a rate of knots. Muhammad Ibrahim's just posted a 55.49, which is 4/10 quicker than Kalen Chin's last lap.
4/10 quicker. He only made a bit of a dent to that particular interval, but still 14 seconds behind I don't see that gap closing anytime soon unless something dramatic happens, like say another back marker causes an incident or Kalen goes off in the darkness. But so far at least going steady for the Aussie, and he is now well on his way to claiming a second podium of the season.
Okay, let's see if there's any more incidents involving Inigo Anton. Whenever we seem to follow him, Alex Young, there seems to be some kind of sparks and mayhem. But at the moment, he's not happy, but is in P7.
P7. Really, such a shame though. It's another race you feel he should have won. You know, he was in P2, Dominic Ang was in front of him, had the overtake done, kinda, and then just went off, and that's it. He's been in trouble since then.
Replay what happened to Dominic Ang here, so it might be another pit lane exit incident. No, not this time. But see what happens after. Oh! Well, it's a dark colored car, and I'm not sure whose car is that. He might have actually spun out earlier anyway, so Dominic collected somebody.
That was Mika Hakimi, so I must have spun by himself and then well, collected him.
Gosh, Josh Perwin has done really well to avoid any of these incidents. They're back with Anton and now back with Josh Perwin. Perwin, race leader, 8 seconds clear, but there is danger lurking in those shadows. I tell you, we've seen it too many times. Be careful, young Josh, be careful.
In the darkness there's always going to be a lot of problems, and for Josh anyway, he has been clear of that-ish. There have been a few moments that it's been harem scarum, but maintaining a gap about 8 seconds in front of Kalen, looks like he knows where to go, where he's going. He's showing the light for everybody else to follow.
I'd just like to have a look at some of the others we've not given any TLC to. Josh Thomas, who was early on, he was involved in an early incident. He's still on the track in P8 at the moment, the Aussie. I think we expected a little bit more from him on both here and at the Oval, Alex.
Yeah, he's just been a bit strange. Josh Thomas and, of course, Luke Bannister, both the Aussies, just a little bit anonymous today. Didn't have the pace. They were unlucky, though. They did have that the start line incident in race 1, which struggled. But in general, they haven't had the pace of, say, someone like Josh Perwin or Mohammed Ibrahim.
Where is Luke Bannister? Luke is having a tough old time. There is Luke Bannister in the pits. Looks like his race is run. Josh Perwin is the man who is leading, but Luke Bannister is out of this race or maybe in the pits. Perwin, can you avoid the danger, Josh?
Well, he avoided one danger. He overtook a back marker there. You can see the white car just outside of shot was a back marker, and that might be Joaquin Garrido. No, is that? Yeah, that was Garrido. So Garrido became another back marker that's been overtaken by Josh. But luckily for him, the back markers have been quite behaved, so he has actually had the luxury of overtaking these drivers and not lose too much time. It's still 8 seconds, amazingly, between himself and Kalen.
Tell you what, your mystery circuit has worked quite nicely, Mr. Young.
Well, it's been a bit of a crash fest. I'm not sure we'll be coming back. Yeah, I'm not sure. You love the crashing, don't you? I don't like that much crashing. Yeah, I think the pit exit, didn't expect to have as many problems with the pit exit as we have today. So I don't think we can come back to this track for these sort of cars. They're too quick for it.
Arif Azmi from Apex Racing. He had a terrific P2 last week at Indianapolis here, struggling in P13. You just see as he comes out, get perilously close to that wall. Fabulous circuit, exciting circuit.
Well, you're going to have to, because you need to make a lot of timers in the walls. As what Alex said, that you actually, if you get up close to the wall on the oval, you get a lot of speed and time. And it's also the same case here on the Roval. You just have to get as close as possible to the wall to get a wider line through the entrance and a faster speed mid-entry and good exit out of it.
Yeah, we should actually also have a look at the battle for 4th position. That's getting quite tasty between Nasi and Alif. Look at them, nose to tail. Safe House and Flash battling for 4th position. They're both black cars as well. We can't follow them on the infield because we can't see them. But yes, Mikko Nasi, they're hanging on to 4th at the moment. You know, somehow he survived he's been in a few incidents, but Leaf, wow, going to try to go down the inside.
Oh, can he make it move the move stick this time? Yes, he does, cleanly. And in race 1, he tried to overtake Naki right to the back of him. This time makes it clean, and I'm surprised Nasi didn't defend any harder there, Alex.
Yeah, I think maybe Nasi just struggling a bit because he just dropped way back. So something's wrong with Nasi's car because he doesn't have the pace he normally does.
Nasi might find himself coming under pressure as we look from Nakib, you just saw Nakib Aslan coming into the shot there. How long have we got? We've got 3.5 minutes left. This could get a bit naughty for Miko Nasi, because Nakib Aslan is looking for a P5.
Well, they both actually, co-drive each other in endurance races, so I think they can give each other a bit more space and they can relax a bit. But having said that, there's also been instances where endurance drivers, despite being teammates in endurance racing, when they go to single-seaters, cause accidents. Cast your minds back to the very first Formula E race between Nicholas Prost and Nick Heidfeld. Prost hit the side of Heidfeld, Heidfeld went to the wall, and at that time they were actually teammates in the Rebellion squad in Le Mans, so a bit awkward there if you think about it.
We have got 3 minutes left to race. Josh Perwin has had this in the bag. We hope for his sake that he can stroll on to a first E1 Championship win of the season. He reckons he should be higher up the standings than he currently is. Now he's actually proving that he's got the ability, Alex Young.
Well, I think one thing with Josh Perwin, you're never surprised by his ability. We don't ever doubt that. But for whatever reason, sometimes bad decisions, sometimes he's come up against an informed Nakib and Alif in the first 2 seasons. He just hasn't had his first E1 win. But now nothing's going to stop him. I think, like you said, only 2.5 minutes to go. 7 seconds to Kalen Chin in second position. That should be comfortable enough.
And nobody in the pits either, so nobody's going to come out the dark and just hit him.
Yes, well, good things that these cars heal themselves. So even if you did get hit, I think 7 seconds might be enough for the car to heal itself and still hold on to the lead.
Doctor Who regeneration intensifies.
Kalen Chin, another very quietly efficient performance by Kalen. We forget how young he is. We forget he's still a 14-year-old. He's so mature, looks so good, consistently chasing the podium places.
Absolutely, and yet he's going to be, only surprisingly though, it will be only his second podium of the season. He's been there or thereabout in the top 10 for the last, 5 races, apart from that a little bit of a hiccup in Indianapolis. He is looking good here. He can actually build a title challenge from this.
Yeah. Certainly can. We're at the midway point of the season now. 1.5 minutes to go. Mohammed Ibrahim is in P3, but won't get close, I think, to Kalen Chin in P2. Mohammed Alif Hamilton is the man in P4. So it looks like Flash are going to have another successful day in terms of points. But Black Arts Racing, Josh Perwin, Alex Young, we ought to just stick with him. 1 minute to go. This has been a comprehensive, fabulous victory and really kickstarts his championship.
Yeah, it does. I mean, he's still going to be second in the championship because Ibrahim also had a very good qualifying in race 1. But, solidifying himself as Ibrahim's perhaps only championship rival at the moment, because the guys in 3rd and 4th, Thomas and Bannister, have been nowhere today. But, yeah, really good drive. Josh, very controlled drive as well, kept out of the trouble, and that's why he's going to win.
30 seconds to go. This will be the last lap, so barring a catastrophe, and we do not count out catastrophes in sim racing, but Josh Perwin is going to purr home for Black Arts Racing for his first win of the season, for his first win in the E1 Championship. And it is a comprehensive one by more than 6 seconds, Amo Hazik.
Absolutely. In fact, he's actually dropped the pace a bit slightly because Kalen is actually chasing now, but too little too late for the other Aussie to catch up. Josh is going to be purring all the way to the line.
There he is, Josh Perwin. As he comes round, he's just got this long bank to go. Alex Young, and superlatives please for Josh Perwin.
What a drive. Second in race 1 and the win for the Australian. His first ever win. Wow, that's Josh Perwin, look please. That's a lot of emotion for Josh Perwin.
So Josh Perwin takes the victory. Kalen Chin will come through for another podium place, his second of the season. Mohammed Ibrahim got ahead of Alif, would you believe? Ibrahim pinches P3. Alif is close behind in P4, but Ibrahim has another huge week. And while Perwin enjoys the victory, Alex Young, Ibrahim will retain top spot in the championship. But your conversation is going to be with the race winner, Josh Perwin. Thanks to Amma Hazik for the commentary. Alex, over to you.
Wow, so there's Josh doing some donuts in the infield. We can't really see him, I think. But Josh, your first win in E1, I believe. Come on, talk us through your race.
Yes, so I started 11th. I wasn't expecting much, but I was slowly making my way through the field, and then I think everyone kind of got stuck behind Dominic and then I ended up being the one when I was at the front of the queue to make the overtake and pull away, and I think that was the race-winning move, and then from there just controlled the pace. Tried to go for fastest lap, but a lap car got in the way, but apart from that, it was a really good race. Really happy with that.
Yeah, you should be. It was quite hard overtaking Dominic. We saw a couple of guys go off. Kalen went off, and then Inigo Anton went off. What were you thinking at that point? Were you thinking, well, I have to try and find a way past without having an accident?
Yeah, that was the thing as well, but especially, you know, if you get an incident, you get a 20-second penalty, so you have to be very, very cautious. So I was kind of just biding my time and waiting for the perfect opportunity, and I seized it down the inside and broke a bit later, so I got the position. So, yeah, I was very, very happy with that move. I think I did like a fist bump after I made that move as well. So, yeah, really happy.
Okay. How was the tire deck for you? Because you actually held out a little bit longer than most of the other drivers, so your tires must have held on quite well.
Yeah, I was being quite cautious with the tires, especially when I was in that queue, so that if I got ahead, which I did, with the drivers' lap cars ahead, I was kind of waiting for a bit of a gap in the lap traffic so I could kind of just push a bit while everyone else was pitting. But I was still doing the lap time. Like, I was going for fastest lap after lap, so I didn't really see a reason to pit until I got close to the lap cars. So, yeah.
Well, you kept it on the black stuff. Congratulations. Bask it in, soak it in, and we'll see you next week. Des, over to you to walk us through our unofficial results.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, Josh Perwin's first victory of the season will help him in the overall championship standings. Kalen Chin, quietly efficient day. A P4 followed by a P2 for Black Wolf. Mohammed Ibrahim, that's another super day for Team Flash. He will be the championship leader by a long way. Alif competitive. Miko Nasi, a decent P5. I think that's his best result of the season for Miko Nasi. Naki Baslan struggling in P6. Keeps picking up points. Inigo Anton could have won, might have won, didn't. Josh Thomas 8. Joaquim Garrido for GT Radial Your Asia down in 9. Aaron Lim in 10. Another top 10 place for Aaron Lim from Team Egg. Hakimi, Dominic Ang, Arif Azmi, Melvin Tan and Ben Seek on his return, picking up points out of the points. Martin Lau and Luke Bannister.
All right, so that's 2 races for 2 done and wrapped up at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Roval sure did deliver with the action. We've got plenty to unpack with post-race analysis, as well as a look into what our championship results look like after all the points have been tallied up. All that coming to you after this break.
When I switched to Pro Mileage, I got 47% of savings.
I paid 790 for it. Compared to any other insurer, the cheapest was 1,290. Pro Mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper.
My Volvo XC40 1 year premium 6,000 over ringgit. Then I start taking from Malaysia. I say, huh? 3,200 plus ringgit.
Claim went through pretty fast. I got my car back pretty quickly as well.
Called them about 8 o'clock in the morning. I think within 1 hour it came.
The boys in green at Stratos Motorsports are usual suspects up at the very front of the E1 Championship.
They won Season 0, they came second in Season 1. They'll be back stronger, they'll want to take back that championship fight with Naqib Aslan.
Hi, I'm Naqib Aslan, and I'm the Season 0 champion of the E1 Championship. Season 0, it was a huge roller coaster. Having Yevan David as my teammate at that point, it was a good dynamic we had. He was a great teammate to be paired up with. From Season 0 to Season 1, I swapped from Yevan David to Ibrahim as my teammate. Things just don't go the way it was planned to be. Midway through Season 1, we swapped to my own brother. The dynamic was always going to be good because we came in with the same mentality of wanting to win, and the hunger was always there, but sometimes, you know, things just don't go the way you want it to go. Season 1 was a very difficult season for us. We didn't hit the ground running as we wanted to. Sadly, we won first runner-up instead of the championship.
So Team Stratos Motorsports are back for the third season in a row at the E1 Championship, and we're seeing another different driver lineup this time around. We have Naqib Aslan, but alongside him we have someone else, and that driver is Dominic Ang.
Hi, I'm Dominic Ang. This will be my first time joining the E1 Championship.
Dominic Ang, he's someone that has been around in the paddock for many years.
I started going to karting when I was 9, then slowly going throughout the ranks, coming to touring car, then Formula car, then going into GT racing. I went on to race other GT series, managed to got some titles in the China GT Championship in the Pro-Am category, and also did some TCR race with Viper Deza Racing, winning the Pro-Am category in the TCR Spa 500.
Real life driver, he's got so much experience, and I think it will really benefit us for moving forward as a team.
One of the things we don't often see is the personal chemistry of the drivers.
I think the chemistry between Naqib and Dominic's pretty good. You know, Dominic's a real life driver, he's been around quite a bit, so he'll have a different view on things.
And he'll be able to give a lot of tips to Naqib, and I think that that's going to be a very interesting duo indeed.
This beginning of Season 2 hasn't gone that smoothly for us.
So everyone's going on about, wow, Naqib's taking so long to get to the front, but that's all a load of crap. In motor racing terms, it's not a task of a moment to change things around so quickly. We're used to Naqib always being up there, so that's why it looks a little bit strange that he's struggling with the iRacing game.
So heading into round 1, you know, it was really an unknown. It was a harsh wake-up call for us, you know, that we were really far off the pace.
But he made a big stride in round 2. He made a big jump forward.
Based off round 2 compared to round 1, I think we made a huge step, qualifying in the top 5 and had the pace to really fight for a podium.
They came back with a win finally in the Indy 200, so that's awesome.
And really prove all of his critics wrong.
This win at Indianapolis might just be the big confidence booster that he needed.
I'm so super elated for the team getting our first podium and that being a win. We've all worked so hard for this. We're back up there and hopefully we can bring that momentum coming into the next round.
But they've still got more to do, you know, they're still not quite up to pace on the usual track.
My biggest obstacle personally is figuring out this game. Still not quite there yet, but we're making that, and hopefully midway through the season maybe we'll be fighting for that win again.
I think for the upcoming races we'll still see small improvements with Stratos. They're not going to go from where they are now to winning races. If they can fight for podiums, that'll be a really good result for them.
Well, I think that was a classic case of the commentator's curse. We were praising Naqib Aslan for doing well in Indianapolis. Struggled a little bit tonight, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But hello, folks. Welcome back to the E1 Championship. This is Season 2, brought to you by our sponsors, Evo Club Car Insurance with Pro Mileage. Don't forget that you can save up to 40% off your next car insurance renewal. Be sure to check out their website, evoclubinsurance.com. Now, we just had a feature there on Stratos Motorsports. Naqib Aslan, we said, reigning champion. We understand he's struggling a little bit, you know, with the iRacing platform. Yep. We've commented on the good chemistry that, you know, James Russell at Stratos Motorsports has done pairing Naqib Aslan with Dominic Ang. But it just doesn't look like it's still kind of gelled together. There were still a lot of mistakes, quite a few accidents tonight. Is it too late for Stratos Motorsports to win the championship?
Oh, definitely. The gap is too big. Halfway through the race, you can never say never, but realistically, I mean, mathematically, it's still a long way to go. And we do have 2 breaks, obviously, so with those breaks, you know, the drivers and teams can find some. But, you know, Team Flash is looking so good. Black Arts Racing are looking very strong at the moment. If there weren't so many teams in between them, then you could say it's always possible. But when there's so many teams taking points from each other, I think the gap is too big. However, there's still a lot of prize money all the way down to P5 in the championship, so there's still a lot to fight. Still a lot to fight for.
That's right. Stratos may not be able to retain their championship title, but they're still in it to win it for some of that lovely cash money. Let's go ahead and speak to Dominic Ang, who was at the front of the field for a lot of the race. There he is, Dominic. Nice smile on your face. You were up there for a lot of race 2. A couple of incidents. Why don't you walk us through your race?
Well, I think at the start, I think it was quite good start. After that, I tried to follow Aaron and managed to pass Aaron. After that, I knew the guys behind were much faster, definitely. I was like 1 second a lap slower, so just try to keep them behind as long as possible. So I think I was fighting a few laps with Josh. Then after that, I think the one with Alif, there was a contact. Then yeah, at the chicane, just under braking.
We know you're a fast driver. Of course, we had a cool snippet there showing all of your racing experience in GT cars, Le Mans prototypes. I mean, where are you lacking in pace? Where do you think that you can make an improvement on this iRacing platform for the rest of the championship?
Well, I think one is definitely more driving, and I think for this track, I think the setup, I think there's something still not right. I think especially when the tire overheats, the tire temperature goes up to 100, 120, that's where I start to lose out a lot. So I think still need to find something for this track, well, especially for the next few tracks there.
So next race is in Spa. We'll get into more detail on that, and I believe that's a track that you've raced on. Do you think that you're going to have a bit of an advantage going in there? We know all drivers were disadvantaged with only 3 days of practice going into tonight's mystery round.
Yeah, I think for Spa, I guess even among all the games, the tracks in iRacing, I think Spa is one where I feel much comfortable with. Even in the whole E1 season, most of the tracks that we went, I think I wasn't really comfortable with it. So Spa will be the first one that I will really be comfortable. So see how, I hope I can be as close to the top guys.
Yeah. All right, well, big things to come, I'm sure. We can't wait to see what you get up to there. Good race, and we'll see you in a week.
Okay, thank you, Daniel.
All right, Alex, do we have time for another interview?
Yeah, we got one more time. I think we have to talk to Kalen Chin. Kalen Chin had a very dramatic race, wasn't he? He was right up there fighting for the lead, went backwards. Luckily, there was a train of cars, so he was able to catch up. And in the end, finished did he finish P2, which was a great result for what happened earlier in the race. Kalen! That was a dramatic race. I'm not sure we got enough time, but no, we got enough time. Take us through it.
I mean, the start was pretty hectic with Nakib, and I think it was Luke Bannister who crashed in turn 3. And then after that, there was like a huge train of like 7 cars, I think. And then I overtook Elise in lap 2. That was a brave move by me, and it paid off. And then I think it was lap 5. I got hit from behind, and then that sent me like back to the back of the train. But thank God that they were all battling, and it made me catch up. And then I did the overcut. I pitted later than both Inigo and Elise, and it worked. I came out like 4 seconds ahead of him, and then after that, I just pulled away from them, and at the end was almost catching up to Josh, but just ran out of laps. But yeah, P2, it's a really good result, considering how bad the previous 2 rounds have been, and so I'm really happy with this.
Well done, well done. I mean, how's it going with the car? I just wanted to ask, because you have been quick, but like you said, it didn't quite go your way. The last 2 rounds didn't work out well for you. But the pace is there, right? So you just need to find a little bit more, and it would be the top set of the podium, won't it?
Yeah, actually, I haven't really, this week and also next week, I wouldn't really have the time to practice, as I have exams for school next week, so it's going to be a bit difficult practicing setups, but if I have the time when I'm not studying, I'll definitely put in a lot of hours to work with Marco Zipoli, my team manager, to see how much we can gain, as we are still like about 2-3 tenths behind like Black Arts and Flash, so we'll see. I'll see what I can do, and hopefully we can be as quick as them.
Studying for exams. I think he's only saying that because he knows his dad's tuning into this live stream. Well, regardless, best of luck for your exams, and we'll see you in a week. Spa-Francorchamps, I'm sure you're very excited. Take care.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, up next, Alex, take us through the highlights from race 2.
I'm going to have to talk really quick because there was so much action going on. This is at the very start there. At the start, Thomas spinning off. Oh, very unexpected from Thomas to make that sort of mistake. Then Aaron Lim was leading. Then Dominic Ang had this great move around the outside of Lim to lead. And then this huge train of cars following Dominic Ang. Dominic actually did a really good job because he didn't have the pace of the cars behind him, but he kept them behind for so long. Then Inigo Anton made his way through, and then he made a mistake, too much curb, and that put him out of the hunt for the win. Inigo, if he hadn't made that mistake, I think would have won the race today. Then finally, Josh Perwin was the guy to finally overtake Dominic Ang, and he would go on from that and pull out quite a nice handicap. And behind him, as it got darker, lots of carnage, especially coming out of the pit lane when people can't see each other. But Josh Perwin was able to take his first win of the season.
These results are brought to you courtesy of Evo Club Car Insurance with Pro Mileage, and Josh Perwin picks up the 25 points ahead of Kalen Chin. Good day for both of those Aussies. Mohammed Ibrahim, really good day for him, a P1, the P3. Ali for P4, plus fastest lap, just shows how quick he can be. Miko Nassi and Naki Baslan rescuing something. We write him off at our peril, but it is a long way from home for Stratos Motorsports. Inigo Anton, another top 10, another fun race, but out of the top 5. Josh Thomas from Safe House in P8. Joaquim Garrido from GT Rail Eurasia 9. Aaron Lim from Team EGG, another fine top 10. What that means is that the points for this round, Josh Perwin 48 points, but Ibrahim 46, so Perwin gets closer, but only by 2 points. Ibrahim really is looking the favourite at the halfway stage. Kalen Chin, another respectable 35. Muhammad Alif, again, a very good 34. Anton, 24. Miko Nassi chips in with 19, as does Nakib. Hakimi, a decent 15. Josh Thomas, 13. Aaron Lim, 10. It's competitive outside the top 2.
It is very competitive indeed. Up at the front, very, very close between Josh Perwin and his main rival, Mohammed Ibrahim. It means that the overall championship points are going to be very, very close as well. But that wraps up round 4. Next, we have round 5, where we're going to be heading to a track that we have visited before in past E1 championships. And that's one of my personal favorites, and any racing driver's personal favorite, Spa-Francorchamps. Over to Amanda to walk us through this beautiful circuit.
Next week, we'll be heading to one of the most beautiful and widely adored circuits for fans around the world. Yes, we will be going to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. We were at Spa before in Season 0, and next week we will be racing again at this beautiful circuit for Round 5, Season 2. Home to the Belgian Grand Prix, Spa is one of the most storied venues in the motorsports world and has long been recognized as the supreme test of courage and skills. Michael Schumacher holds the record with 6 victories at Spa. Next on the list is Ayrton Senna, who won the race 5 times between 1985 and 1991. Stay tuned for more. Same time, same channel. See you next week.
So we've said it's been a tough season so far for Nakib, but this is a track that he has won on before in Season 0. Do you think that's the advantage and experience he needs?
I think the driver's going to really like driving it. I think we're going to see a much closer field at Spa. I think Nakib will be stronger, so will Leaf. It's a longer track, and normally when you see longer tracks, you see everyone kind of space out. But because everyone knows the track so well and they love driving it, and I think they're going to put a lot of practice, I actually think it's going to be a lot closer than we realize. You need a very smooth style, but also car setup's very important as well. So if you don't have a good car setup, you're going to be nowhere at Spa.
Well, 2 very long straights right at the front over Eau Rouge and at the back, so I expect a lot of overtaking. I can't wait. But to wrap up tonight, Des, please take us through the overall drivers and teams championship standings.
Drum roll, please, as we see that the lead is held by Mohammed Ibrahim, 152 points. Josh Perwin does close in a little bit. Those 2 ahead of Mohammed Alif. This is terrific form from Alif. P3 without really hitting his best form half a season to go. Nakib in P4. Those 2 champions for a reason. Thomas Kalen Chin and Luke Bannister, who had a nightmare. 7 points in this round 4. Inigo Anton in P8. All competitive. Anyone over 55, 56 points as Dominic Ang is, they can count themselves as possibility opportunities for a top 5 place at the end of the season. We're at the midway point of the season after the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval double race. In terms of the team scores, Flash 268 points ahead of Black Arts Racing. Luke didn't have the best of days today, but Josh Perwin picked up useful points. But Alif and Mohammed Ibrahim just consistently picking up points. Alif is playing a great team role here. I've got to give my admiration for him for that. Miko Nasi had a good day today. Josh not so good. 164 points for them. It's a really good battle between Safe House Stratos, Black Wolf, and even GT Radial Eurasia from the Philippines for P3. Remember, there are thousands of dollars at stake for these races.
Well, taking a look at the Teams Championship standings, it is Flash running away a bit, but looking at the Drivers' Championship, going into that second half, we're in for a real corker of a second half of the season. Going into Spa, we know this is a track that all drivers will be strong in, all teams will be strong in with their setups, so who knows how that points deficit is going to close up. Now don't forget, you can catch our races same time, same place, that's Wednesday 9 p.m. on the EGG network. Next week we're racing at Spa. Don't miss it. Check out our Facebook page and our website, and we'll see you in a week. My special thanks to Alex, Amo, and Des in the studio. That's goodbye from them. That's goodbye from me. We'll see you in a week.
Take care.
Good night.